Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy, and this is a particular note if you drive an electric vehicle. Speaking of patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation first and foremost to new patron Sarah Griffiths, Rob H, Ben White, Maximum Gravy, Austin Whitsit, John Kays, Tommy Swagnut, Michael Kahn, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Will Brax, Mel B. Styles, Troy Shuker, Bose Nail, Samson, Maris, Harry Blade, Mobile Mac 777, Neo the One, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Mike, Dick Earth Skeptic, Maria Nealands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, The Real Gabster, Liam Nedrick Jr., Abraham Mohammed, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic936, Life is Short, theflatearthchannel.com, Texas Mike, and David Wayne Foster. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
In the clouds, I see teddy bears. I see all kinds of things. Well, not teddy bears. I see demon-shaped things too, and I'm like, all kinds of things you can see in the clouds. See animals.
But
Yeah,
see,
the one picture I posted a little while ago, there's a demon in the cloud.
But that doesn't mean. Go on, Steve.
Well, I just want to mention real quick, like Mount Rainier is right here in Seattle, out of Seattle here. But up on the mountain there's this huge, you can only see it in the summertime, bull elk with his head bent down, looks like he's kind of eating grass, big old rack, carved. It's the only way it could be there. See, now they don't even talk about it, right? They hide it from us. And if they do gets brought up, it's supposed to be a natural thing, right? Well, get out of here. You can't look at that carving and not know it's real. Carving. Simple.
What's that called?
Well, it's Mount Rainier, the elk carving on Mount Rainier. You might find something. But see, yeah, that stretch of people bring that up on animals. I've seen all kinds of huge animals. Look at this here. No, what you don't understand is carving. I mean, there's huge faces of carving man's faces on certain peaks, and it's kind of like Mount Rushmore carving. They did the same thing on Mount St. Helens. There's carvings on, I've never seen them, but they say there's carvings on Mount St. Helens too. There's another so-called volcano, that's total BS too.
Yeah, people could be looking at carvings too, right? And then after so much time fades away, these carvings kind of fade away a little bit, and they go, "Oh wow, that could have been real."
Well, I mean, like I say, the mountains used to be trees. So you can visualize how big things used to be. And then even the animal husbandry. People skip over animal husbandry. You should know a little bit about breeding animals. And everything's a damn lie. Everything. And then let's talk about La La Land. See, once you wander from, what can actually be real, then go to La La Land, which, that's part of the game. Let's take people to La La Land, show them movies about flying to outer space and talk about UFOs and serpents and Loch Ness monsters. I mean, Christ, it never stops, right? Like, holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah, back to what you were saying about mountains being trees and all that. They say there's no more ancient forests on Earth. Everything's been cut down and restarted.
Yeah, that's a good one to look at. That's where I'd
Because
start looking.
most of these trees that you look around, you cut them open and you can count the rings to see how old they are. They're only a couple hundred years old, 2, maybe 3. These trees should be monstrous and a lot older than 200-300 years.
Well, and then visualize how big a tree could grow if nobody messed with it. See, I mean, one of the biggest lies is the physical world. You've been lied to about the physical world. That's why I say you got to go back into chemistry and you got to double check all the lies coming out from chemistry and biology. Your little photosynthesis bullshit and air bullshit and everything's bullshit as far as I'm concerned, unless you want to sit here and talk about some facts you want to throw at me. The way it is. The world we live in.
Yeah, I agree.
Ready for this? 200 years old, huh? The oldest trees in the world are the mistletoe pines of California's White Mountains, USA. The oldest named individual tree, christened Methuselah, was found by Dr. Edmund Schulman, USA, and dated in 1957 from core samples as being more than 4,800 years old. Now, you can take that however you want. That's not 200, is it?
Yeah, but there's no more trees like that around. Even in the remotest parts of the world, you cut them suckers open, they're only a couple hundred years old, all over the place.
I only put in the oldest tree. There's a list of 10. I mean, there's not just this one. This is the oldest one. You have to look into it to see what the rest of them are.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not. I didn't take the sample. I didn't see it, so I don't know. I'm sure if I maybe looked into it a little bit better and they show me the sample, maybe I'd be, swayed one way or the other.
Yeah, it's all arbitrary. But I picture things a lot like the movie Avatar, where you go in and there's these gigantic beams and trees and everything. Like that could have been the way that the old world used to be, But who knows? It's not like that anymore.
You say there was a lot more oxygen. People would have been bigger, animals, plants, the whole thing. They tell us everything was smaller. Like not too long ago, and we died quick. We're dying at 30 and we're short and stupid. I don't believe it for a minute. To tell you the truth.
Yeah, everything started out as a microorganism and developed into another one and turned into a fish. Then it was a lizard, and then it was a monkey, and then it was a human. So we started out super microscopic, and now we're these 6 foot, 7 foot human beings. The theory of evolution.
Let's see. How can we trigger the panel today?
Yeah, I've been telling everybody in Discord that I thought it was a disaster today. Like even like my behavior, I was looking at like, because I don't know. Because I've been learning lately. Lately, guys, like been showing me like that fighting and arguing is not the way, right? And like when you get shown something, you still kind of go through it. It's like, oh wait, I gotta learn. It's kind of like that Terminator 2 movie where the kid dangles the keys in front of Arnold after he shows him they're just in the glove box or something, and he goes, "Are we learning yet?" kind of thing. Kind of that kind of a moment.
That's
Right.
technically that's
He
technically a
smashed the
continuity error.
tolerance.
So
What's
that scene follows a scene where Sarah Connor and the actress who plays her and her identical twin sister sit opposite each other in a frame, so it looks like it's a mirror image of her working on the back of Arnie's head. And what they do is they open up his head and take the chip that's controlling him, the one that the Skynet black guy at the end has got in Terminator 2, you know, the guy? Well, that chip, they have to turn it around 180 degrees to make it learning rather than read-only. So when it's sent back, when the machine's sent back, it's sent back with a specific task, and that's it. Whereas to change that to be something that can actually learn rather than just follow orders and do the task that it's set, they need to adjust that. So they cut that out of the cinematic release of the film, yeah, and then the scene following it is where he, opens the sun visor to show that the keys are stuck in the sun visor, and he asks, "Are you learning yet?" Because he's checking to see if the guy's actually, if it's worked, what they've done. But that's, as I say, that scene was cut out.
Right?
Interesting.
Also, what the hell are you babbling on about trees being mountains? Talking to you, Steve.
What's that?
Said that mountains were trees. And I say in response, what the hell are you babbling about?
Well, you only got two choices, Nathan. You can believe their story. Hot molten lava, bunch of BS volcanoes. Or you can look at God and say, hey, how does that work? How do those chemicals work?
Okay, I take option 2. I still don't think mountains used to be trees.
So the DNA of a tree seed is a mountain DNA.
They took samples of certain mountains that resembled if it could have been a tree. They were flat top mountains, flat,
Excuse me.
and they had rings just like a tree. And they took it, and they could see that it was like petrified wood that after years and years and years got really hard and eventually turned into rock or whatever. But it was petrified wood in a way.
Did you just glance over what information is in the DNA and seed bearing like kind? Did you just go over that?
So are we talking about liars right now?
So
What are you?
this has come from a video that was released about 6 years ago called "There Are No Forests on Flat Earth." Absolutely sod all to do with flat Earth and everything to do with a postulation that mountains used to be giant trees. And at the time, a lot of people in the flat Earth community, if you want to call it that, which was a lot smaller back then, jumped on this idea and really got enthusiastic about it. And DITRH held a roundtable discussion with lots and lots of different people on it to discuss this no forests on flat Earth concept and idea. And to my memory, I was the only person on the panel who is against it, saying no, I don't think this is true. So as a result of David Weiss's channel at that time, that channel getting removed for whatever reason, the Mirror is now, to my knowledge, the only version of that that's out now. So I think it's like the second or third most popular video on my channel, Nathan Oakley 1980. But if you go and check that out, you'll hear the full discussion about that concept. And as I say, me in vehement opposition to it.
Yeah,
There's even a group that believe that these old rock mountains are old giants.
Where'd the coal come from?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the DNA of a seed. It's the petrification of a decaying tree.
It's just like looking at a cloud and seeing a bunny. I mean,
well, you gotta know a little bit about chemistry if you're going to talk about it.
Well,
Where'd the
tell me
coal
about
come from?
petrification. Tell me about
Where'd the
petrification
coal
of a
come from?
decay.
Oh,
gosh.
hold on. Got a chemist on the panel.
Tell me where the coal came from.
No,
Where
need
do
to know
we
a bit
get
about.
coal?
Hello, got a chemist on the panel.
Where do we get
talking
coal?
about the formation of coal, where
Yeah,
the actual
where does it come from?
where the actual tree carbon stays in place, or are we talking about
Yeah, where
the
it comes from?
petrification, where everything is replaced by minerals?
Yeah, where'd it come from?
Which
They
one?
told me it came from an ice age. Now that's a bullshit story. So what are you claiming?
Which I'm not claiming anything. I'm asking you which is the claim? Is it turning to coal, which I don't think the mountains are, or
Where do you get
petrification
coal?
and replacement by minerals like a fossilization? Which are we? I assume we're talking the latter because these mountains aren't coal, are they?
Well, mountains are rock. We're talking about coal and oil now. Where'd the coal come from? What is coal?
They're all very good questions, but you're claiming that the trees are mountains and mountains were trees.
Yeah, you proved me wrong.
yeah, let's stick to dealing with that one then.
It doesn't work like that. You're the one making the positive claim, Steve. So it's not for us to prove you wrong. It's for you to prove your claim true.
Well, you're the one claiming they came from a volcano. You have no evidence of that.
Nobody's claimed that. Check it out. Steve's not used to being on this side of this. No, this is definitely your claim, Steve. We don't have to.
No, I don't. I've been on this side of it for a long time. My arguments haven't changed too much for
So where did it come from?
many years.
So where did it come from then?
What?
Your argument. You're saying where it came from. So where did it come from? Tell us.
My knowledge of farming and water.
Well, I'm a farmer. So I'm a farmer.
Yeah.
Tell me what I could do to get your knowledge.
Well, you got to understand basic chemicals, right? I mean, basic chemicals. Where do they come from, right? How did God make it, right? That's what answers we're after, right? How does nature work?
No.
See, I talk to people.
Stop. Right, your claim is the mountains used to be trees. What you're saying? Okay.
Yep.
Sell that to us. Give us your best. What have you got?
Well, are you familiar with wood? How hard it gets? Are you guys all familiar with density with wood, right?
Yes.
Certain wood is higher density, right?
Yes.
Now,
Ebony,
that
high
wood-
density. Yes.
Yeah, and we're talking about wood turning to rock. We all know that.
Do we?
Well, petrified trees seem to be pretty apparent, kind of factual type of a deal. There's
What's
several
the evidence
pictures.
that these rocks used to be wood?
Hold on. He's going somewhere. He's giving us. I've asked him to, so let him.
Sorry.
Okay, we're at the. You've got petrified trees. Okay, I'll accept that. Yeah. Got it.
And then you got to understand big trees, right? You've been to the redwoods. I used to cut down big trees.
Sure. I've seen a cross section of a
Okay.
redwood. Yes, in the Natural History Museum. Enormous, gigantic, 8 foot across diameter.
Huge, yeah.
Okay.
See,
Yeah.
now we don't have any knowledge because we cut them down. Man runs out there and cuts big, huge trees down any chance he gets. So,
Okay. Yep.
you know, there ain't no three. Like I say, you got to You know, there ain't nothing that doesn't have water in it. Nothing.
Rock.
That rock
So far,
has water in it.
So far, you've told us how man cuts down trees. You're not answering the question.
Well, I think I have. Where'd the coal come from?
No. Okay, now we're back to coal. These
talking about-
mountains aren't made of coal.
No, they're under coal is underneath the rock. See, you gotta your story, your mainstream science is telling me that there was an ice age. Now to start with, I'm telling you that I'm calling bullshit on that to start with.
Okay, why?
And then it pushes why?
Yeah.
Because it's a ridiculous story.
What part of it's ridiculous?
Well, the ice age.
No, I got that bit.
I mean, well, when God made the planet, made the earth, like I say, we're searching for knowledge, all of us. I got dumped on my head just like you did. So at that point, I had to reevaluate everything. So now I know the chemists, people claiming knowledge of chemistry are liars. It's pretty obvious since you can't prove carbon dioxide.
Okay, we're going right around the Reekin now. So,
Yeah, we're getting into the science. So you guys are parroting mainstream science, and anytime somebody parrots anything, anything out of mainstream, oh, that's funny. That's funny.
We're
to be a liar.
We're parroting. This whole show's against mainstream science. Are you kidding me?
We're going a little off.
Talking around in circles.
You're telling out right now. I'm parroting it.
look,
I
Steve,
just told you carbon dioxide is a bullshit lie.
Just one sec.
Well,
Okay,
here's the thing.
Steve. although we-
Petrified wood
Chaos.
will
Hello.
turn into
Hello.
crystallized
Hello.
silicon.
Hello. Thank you, Steve. So, what we've got so far, I'm not disagreeing when I ask you what makes you disagree with there not being an ice age. That doesn't mean I agree or disagree. I'm just probing to see what has got you to come to that conclusion. I feel like, well, I just think that the mainstream are liars, and therefore, carte blanche, everything is auto-hoaxed as a lie. I'd say, okay, that's a reasonable enough justification. Weak for some, but would be an acceptable answer in this circumstance. But if you say, well, I just don't accept science and you're parroting mainstream science, don't see us as your enemy just because we're probing you for what you use to justify your claim. We're not your enemy. We might be. Yeah. See how this goes.
Well, I'm just trying to follow the story, right? You had the dinosaurs, which is whatever, right? And then the next line is Ice Age, but pushing huge amounts of
What's that got to do
carbon.
with trees?
Yeah.
What's that got to
What
do with
happened to the
trees?
trees?
Okay, stop.
Yeah, what happened to the trees?
You said
Well,
dinosaurs.
you guys are wonderful to talk to.
Well, we just want to know what you...
Yeah. Hello, Neil.
Hello, Neil.
We're talking about the trees. We're talking
Not
about
really. Not dinosaurs, you
history.
said.
Well, you're
Dinosaurs.
talking. You got to understand the story, right? Because you don't know a fucking thing about how old you are. Number one, right? We're in agreement there, right? You're going to tell me you believe we're 4.8 million, or you're going to tell me carbon dating, or any of those lies?
I'm
So we're-
48.
I'm
Those are a
62.
bunch of lies. That's the
Look, you,
truth.
you started off with a claim. Now you're wandering off to lies that they say about other things and trying to use other
I'm trying
lies
to
to
get
prove
it all.
I'm in the middle of a sentence. You're using their other lies to substantiate your claim, but you're not substantiating your claim by any proof. You're just saying, well, they lied about this stuff, so they must have lied about this.
Well, you got
we're not
to
attacking,
have
Steve.
open eyes, right?
Yeah.
Steve,
So if your eyes
Hold on,
aren't
hold,
open
everyone,
right
hold
now,
on. Hold on, Steve. I want Adam's sentiment to get across. Go ahead, Adam.
Steve, we're not attacking you. Look, we were all here when this came out. We read, we researched. So we're asking you further to what we know, and we know the mainstream rhetoric. So there's no need to keep repeating that. We're asking you specifically, which bit of this do you feel validates it for you? Which discovery is validating these, like, tabletop mountain here? What other than the patterns shall we say, the striations in the rock, what's validating it for you as real? Look, for example, one of the things you look at, yes, there is petrified stuff, but from what I'm aware, a lot of the more detailed stuff, people are claiming that these aren't even carbon-based trees, that they were silicon-based, hence why they're so big and like this. So it's not a petrification practice. So we're just asking you to expand on what's certain, giving you more certainty that this is a tree, not reiterate the lies that I think that we all know, mate. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm trying to piece together the picture for you.
Okay.
So have you hit, see, when you start talking, see, do you guys believe in the flood? Do you believe there was a flood?
Maybe.
Because there was.
Maybe.
There was a flood.
Maybe.
Well, the evidence points to a flood. That's pretty obvious.
Okay.
Maybe.
Maybe. No, it's not.
Yes.
Obvious.
Yes.
Okay, but look. I don't want every point to be
fine.
us pulling much.
You can sit
Steve.
here and argue about the water, right?
We've only got
But
a few
the
minutes
point
left
is-
before. Oh, God, it's painful.
Go ahead.
We've only got a few minutes left before we start live, right? And I want to utilize this as a segue conversation into a claim made by DITRH, specifically about the moon being a projection. Now, he's come under fire from Russian vids as a result of this, because he's seemingly changed his position on it. Now, I want to focus on the aspect that you've fallen into, which is to offer up a claim, don't take this the wrong way, Steve, without great evidence to back the claim, and a false dichotomy in offer when you made it. So the first thing you said, well, you've only got two choices, Nathan, either the mainstream or, and then you gave a vague, no offence, wishy-washy explanation on justification that never came. So based on that,
Well,
I'm nearly there, Steve, I promise. You're asking for trouble. That's what you're doing. I'm just trying to help by saying, if obviously believe whatever you want, but when it comes to someone like us and we're doing it in the nicest possible way, grilling you on it, that's where you're going to get in trouble.
right. Well, I'm not, yeah, I understand. But if you don't understand how much mining, one thing you can look at all kinds of different things now, right? So anybody claiming knowledge right now, I'm calling bullshit on you. Okay? I'm not saying I've been lied to. Now, I've had enough facts proven to me throughout the course of the last couple of years that I know lies. And so the point I'm making is the lies on the mining. People don't want to look at how much mining is going on out there right now today. Take a look at that. Take a look and ask yourself, how come that ocean bottom for thousands of miles is flat as a pancake?
Yes. But
See, that's
doesn't lead
undeniable.
me to.
That's some more facts they tell us.
That doesn't lead us.
Now you got to ask yourself, how in the hell? See, now you got to ask about the water. I was talking about the water earlier.
Steve.
Yo.
Stop telling us what we need to ask ourselves about. Thank you for leading us down what I need to ask myself.
I'm trying to give you the facts right now where the plants, the water was in the plant.
Steve, thank you, Steve. Yeah, this isn't leading us to any conclusion that the mountains we experience used to be trees.
Yeah.
Now you can spend all day triggered like a globe fundy talking through every second word I say, demanding that we need to consider this and that and the other. It doesn't lead me to the conclusion while you constantly interrupt me.
Through you.
Yeah, you're going to constantly interrupt me like a triggered fundy with a zealot belief in trees that used to be mountains. And you won't shut up. It's irritating, Steve. I'm trying to say, I'll be more blunt if you keep interrupting me. Right, Steve, shut up.
You keep interrupting
Shut up.
me.
Shh. You've offered shit evidence, Steve. Now shut up. With your babbling incessantly.
You shut up.
You're talking
I'm not.
shite. And I want you to shut the hell up.
The fucking water and
Yeah, you triggered fundy fuckwit. Steve.
No, you're triggered. Right?
No, I'm not. Perfectly calm.
triggered.
I'm about to do my intro. I just want you to shut up long enough for me to get to the end of the conclusion while you continually and incessantly tell us what we need to consider.
Well, you keep accusing me of not fucking providing evidence.
Steve, triggered
And I'm sitting here
fundy.
giving you
Steve,
fucking
Steve,
fucking
Stop
evidence,
blabbering,
and you talk
dude.
through me.
Steve, shut up. Yeah, you don't need to tell me what I need to look into. You need to look into your trees claim and come up with some actual sodding evidence for it. Because so far you've given us
you ready to
complete
listen?
garbage, and all you've done is chanted through
Are
the
you ready to
challenges.
fucking
Like you're
listen?
doing now, you triggered
Are you ready to
Fundy.
fucking listen?
Triggered
Are
Fundy.
you ready to listen?
I've listened
ready
to
to
you
listen
for
now?
about 10 straight minutes. You've got
Yeah, you
fuck
fucking
all.
listened to me the whole fucking
Steve,
time.
you stupid retard. You have got fuck all. And I'm sick of hearing you now. You're just stupid. If you continue babbling about what I should consider, I'll be as blunt as you need to be blunt with. Which is to say, shut up. You've got nothing to back this shite. Right? Everyone here has looked into it and has got far more knowledge on no trees on a flat earth than you have. Yet you're telling us what we need to look at and sounding very stupid in the process. Now, if you can't accept that and need to chant through me like some globe-believing Fundy fuckwit, then I will be very short with you and tell you that you sound like a complete idiot when you babble this complete idiocy. Okay?
Are you done?
Done telling you to shut up about no fucking forests on flat earth? Yeah, it's complete horseshit, and you've got absolutely no reason to babble on about it. It's nonsense. We're trying to point that out to you,
Yeah,
but you won't have it. You'll tell us about what we need to consider with bloody coal.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's nonsense. What part of this aren't you getting?
Where is the water?
No, it's back to the we need to consider stuff, is it? We've considered this, Steve. We looked at it, Steve. We were the pioneers in discussion in it, Steve.
Come on, Steve.
Well, you
chill.
got. Oh, so carbon dioxide is real.
So what
Is
the
that what you're
hell does
telling
that
me,
have to
Nathan?
do with a mountain being a tree, Steve? Or is this more incessant babbling about completely nothing to do with that claim you've made that we've challenged? Just more stuff we should consider that's got absolutely sod all to do with it? Yeah, Steve, we know what you've done for the last 10 straight minutes when you tell us that we don't understand, and we should be listening to you babble on about this horse shit.
Yeah. If they're gonna mine like millions
never
of
hurts
cubics
to-
of tons,
Never hurts not to
that-
be arrogant.
if-
Sorry, we've
Oh my
looked at
God.
it, we've asked you to back it, you've not. That's not arrogance, that's stating facts.
Okay, everybody, just chill. Just all right, just drop the subject and
I
move
have
on.
something to
thanks,
say about
Chaos. I've got
I
this.
want.
Thanks.
Can I insert something quickly?
Fourth year
No,
of debate.
Arwin, do not.
Quickly.
Got this.
No, Arwin.
No, come on.
No.
No.
Righteous
Stop
isn't
it,
here
Adam.
to separate everybody, so I'll do his job for him.
It's
Just
okay,
maybe
Chaos,
calm
thank
down,
you.
okay?
I want to
Chaos,
say
hello.
something. Damn it.
Guys in G+,
Maybe
just 1 second. Just Chaos.
248.
Hold on, Sasha. Chaos,
Yeah,
I've got
it's your
this.
time, mate.
Thank you, Jesus wept. Thank you. 5th time. Yeah, Chaos, I've got this. You don't need to take over charge of my show. Is that cool by you that I run the show? Is that good?
Yeah, it's fine. I
Thank
figured I'd just
you.
help Righteous out in his
Thanks.
absence.
Yeah, thanks. Just need you to say yeah. Yeah, thanks. I've got this, honest. Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy, and this is a particular note if you drive an electric vehicle. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching. Then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now, we are joined by 10th Man, Neil, Refracted Curvature, Arwin, the Adam Meakin, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So, welcome, one and all.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Shout out immediately to Mike808, who's joined as a channel member for 12 months. Fantastic stuff. Shows the longevity of this show. I've been doing this for such a long time. People are like, yeah, I'll join for 12 months. That won't be an issue. Good. I appreciate your confidence,
on
Mike.
That subject of longevity, Nathan, I was kind of listening to the intro there, and there was a bit that reminded me of the old days. It's the no swearing, or you'll be ejected, but warmly welcome back on the next show. And I remember that I was just kind of flashback to that used to be quite a regular thing. I mean, it was in the old Google Hangouts rooms, wasn't it? It was be a fair bit of that, and you were welcome back the next day. I'd welcome them in now. The point of this was I'd welcome in now and let them swear a little bit, even if they turn up. But
it's morphed into more.
It's more about the rumpusing now. Like,
Exactly.
just don't rump.
yeah,
But precisely, it's morphed into that. So if you cause a disturbance so much that after a 2-hour show I'm so wound up that I'm swearing at you, that's more likely the way round. But before, it was an excuse. If somebody comes in and causes chaos, typically swearing will start. Not necessarily me that gets triggered. It might be somebody on my side or theirs, or somebody gets annoyed because they can't get a word in edgeways. Before long, the swearing. Now, the culprit is the person that gets kicked out, and my excuse would be, yeah, well, that's just because of swearing. But you're welcome back tomorrow. And that carries over because recently Bob, the science guy, came in. He got absolutely annihilated, and then he came back in. And it's like, hello, how you doing? You know, it's not like there's going to be any vendettas. Every day's a clean slate. Yeah, there's no personal vendettas here. Couldn't care less. Certain people get banned because they get caught out in overt lies, and on an education channel where we're trying to progress the discussion, that's not welcome at all. So people are like, what, just for lying? Not just for lying. Lying about the nature of reality. Now, you might not care. You think that's okay, do you, because you're on the globe side and lying is a necessity? Well, no. Lying with enough deviance to not get called a liar is what keeps these people on the show when they are blatant and overt liars. However, when they are caught in a blatant and overt lie, they will be removed. Because that's not what this show's about. This is labelled education. Why would I want somebody from the opposing side to just present outright lies about something that leaves their position in a fail? Well, just accept the fail. That's what you've got to do. That's what happens. People lose in debate. First outings here, Adam, right? You didn't hear much from me because I got my ass handed to me most of the time, and I knew when to keep my mouth shut. Didn't understand the arguments. I threw myself into the deep end very quickly, realised how easy it is to drown there. Yeah? Now it's the other way around. No one wants to come here because it's for them, deep, infested cesspool of misery. Now, what we see as a tranquil paradise with palm trees and a man serving cocktails in half-cut coconuts is what they see as hell. Very different view for the exact same place. I see the pool as somewhere to swim nicely and relax, floating on my back with a cocktail. They see it as somewhere that they might very well drown. Now, that was the reverse when it started. When the debate started, I viewed the entire thing, my own show, as the pits, as hell. You know, it's like, well, I've got to get in there, right? Got to get in the deep end, as they say. And that was the deep end for me back then. Now it's your deep end, isn't it, Globe believers watching? You don't want to come here because you will drown. Speaking of drowning, should we do a bit of housekeeping just to labour that point?
Go for it.
Any evidence?
Yeah, let's do it.
Any evidence that mountains were formerly trees. I'm only joking. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Yes, Nathan, the tool marks on the mountain prove they were mined trees.
Don't take the piss out of people. That's no. I told Neil off here yesterday. There's just no need. If somebody wants to believe that there's an incoherent dielectric accelerative force, then more power to them. Let them be fruitful in their progress. And if they have to hold a base supposition to move forward and progress, but can relinquish it at the end, then I'm all for it. However,
Well,
go on. There's no need to take the piss.
I wasn't actually just taking a piss out of it. I was a little bit, because I think there might be something to it. It's just that the idea that it was all filled in and it's all scooped out, right? There's probably been very big scale mining, as I also believe there were probably very big humanoids at some point, and then things can get bigger. So it might have very well happened. I have no definitive evidence for it though, but I don't exclude it as a possibility that it might have happened at some point in the past.
Shout out to Sasha, who's actually on the panel. Nathan will only not allow assumptions. ... Intro. Yeah, you don't get to assume or beg the question. Thank you very much indeed, Sasha, for your super chat. Then if you want to reply, as you're here. Thanks.
I just follow on from Owen.
No, it's that thing. You know, he said that this is every time you did it with everyone that I like, because somebody was written on a voice chat. I like when flat earthers, fighting. It's not flat earthers fighting. It's you are pointing that he cannot assume something if he cannot back it up, with some proofs, that for sure true, that we can have, this is his belief. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just making stuff up.
Validation must be validated.
Yeah, it's the same stuff.
All claims must be validated.
Then we can say the moon causing tides in the same way, because
we'll get to the moon. We'll get to the moon. This is of the moment in flat Earth in terms of Russian vids versus DITRH and some other dude, some fitness guy who I don't know, who I did see actually go on Russian Vid show to challenge some of the things said, which I thought was absolutely epic. Good stuff, by the way, Russian Vids. Really enjoying your streams, controversial though they may be. That's the stuff that gets people interested. I hate to say it, but it's true. And, it's got me more interested. And it's highlighted an aspect of something that I didn't know DITRH had actually changed his position on. I hope, God, I might ask him about this. I hope we've had some influence on him in this regard. But we'll come to the question, or come to the point after I ask this question. Any evidence of the distance to the sun? Going to get some standard replies to that answer, with that question.
There is no distance to the sun. It's not a physical object in a specific Cartesian
Perfect, Neil.
location.
Sorry, I went to cut you off. Go ahead, Neil. Can you say that again?
What is the sun?
I don't know. About the moon.
Manifesting light.
Oh,
yeah,
the moon.
The moon. That's obvious. Yes, it's manifesting light. Yes, that's obvious to anybody who looks at it, Arwen.
I've done loads of moon study, so I don't know either with the moon, to be fair. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the same to me.
Okay, so is anybody aware of the calling out of DITRH by Russian vids? Has anybody kept up with that or aware of it?
Well,
yeah. I talked about it on my show as well this day, but I caught a whole bunch of embarrassing nonsense from it. Right? I've been questioning David Weiss for like sun positions and all that. Like even 5 years ago, he's always kind of been like not very easy to pin down. He just likes to freely think about that thing. Like, does he actually have official positions that he like technically defends? Does he?
Owen, if you before, I haven't heard. I've seen stuff in Master B's and bits and bobs. So is someone able to summarize what's gone off?
Yes.
What the change is? Because I'm a bit lost, and I bet
okay, let me just summarize it then. So, as far as the main arguments that I could take from it, if you ignore the subliminally implanted swirls or spirals and things of those nature, which are interesting, but we're not going to focus on any of that. The issue is that Dave Weiss has changed his position from a position that is supportive of a biblical standpoint with a dome and firmament with lights therein, and a position of not total ignorance, but Dave's claiming that he's always said, I think was the phraseology, that he doesn't know what the moon is. And from what I read between the lines, I always say I don't know what the moon is almost an affirmation of a current position, just slightly badly worded. But the text message to and from was shown on screen, and I'm like, from experience, and I'm going to give a specific example in terms of the lighthouse being perfect globe proof. The context of a text message is often... Excuse me, I'm going to clear my throat.
So it's all your fault, is it, Nathan?
Thank you for taking over while I cleared my throat. So the context is often very different and shorthand when you're in a text message or a Skype message between friends or close acquaintances in this instance, than it would be if you were parroting off something with disclaimers to a troll in a comment. So it isn't necessarily going to be peppered with any disclaimers. But when I read David Weiss saying, I always say I don't know what the moon is, I take that, or I would read that, knowing Dave, to mean this is my affirmation of my current standpoint in this regard. Now, that is obviously reading between the lines, but I know Dave really well, and that would be what I took that to mean. Knowing full well that he has stood by positions of claiming what the moon is. He's even got an app that shows it, literally. Therefore, open to reification. Now, he knows this. Mark Sargent knows this. Everybody who knows me knows this, because I bark on about them to them about it all the time. It's something we focus on the show. So it's not like this is something that people are unaware of, but our position on the show is you don't need to necessarily defend positions that you're making claims about. If you don't need to make claims about them, just don't make claims. If there's a claim out in the ether of a moon that's a rock in a sky vacuum, you can debunk it. If you know how to, you can debunk it, and that is where you should draw the line. Now, you might have your own faith and your own beliefs and your own biblical standpoint, which is your personal view, and there's nothing wrong with that. But by the same token, taking a standpoint that is essentially taken from a model and then reified into existence as a projection, in this case, that's the word that's being quibbled, directed at Adam, that projection claim is now seemingly been relinquished with words that were badly phrased. And that bad phraseology has led to Russian vids going, no, you don't always say, as you put in your text, I say, I don't know what the moon is. I always say, I don't know what the moon is. Like I say, I would read that to mean from here on forward. For Russian vids to present him saying, here's the moon, it's a projection within the dome. And Russian vids is saying, yeah, I agree with that position. Now, this is an interesting one for me because I don't decry him his faith, and he's perfectly entitled to believe that. I actually would much prefer he didn't make the claim. Now, like, I'm not a Hitler. I'm not going to tell him what he can and can't claim either. But by the same token, our standpoint, which obviously I'd prefer people align with because I think it's the best position, is you don't know what the moon is. Why make a claim? Because if you do, you've got to back it. Like Steve found out in the pre-show when he started talking about mountains being former trees. Like, yeah, you can believe that if you will. But as soon as you start stating it as a claim with dogged determination behind it, you better be able to back it. And in the case of the luminaries, the moon especially, you definitely don't know what it is. We know what it isn't. We know it's not a rock in a sky vacuum. We know it's not in orbit. We know how their lies have been perpetuated to us and how they're propped up still with things like moon landings and missions to rocks in sky vacuums to this day. Well, that doesn't mean I can suddenly turn around and say, therefore, it's unicorn heaven. Because what else are you going to believe? There's only two choices. It's either unicorn heaven or it's the lies I've been told by the mainstream. Pick your poison. Anyway, that's the situation, Adam.
So just to get a little bit of clarity then. So it's not that we have changed our position. We've moved our position to I don't know from I kind of assumed the biblical standpoint. But is that correct so far?
Yeah. So there's been loose connections that show or assert by inference. Loose inference, admitted by Russian vids. He's not going to take any offence to this. He peppers this by saying some people would hear this and say that's a bit of a stretch. In other words, he's even giving his own disclaimers to this. That's the way I see it. So I don't think he'll take offence.
I have a question.
What I'm saying. So the Bible doesn't say what they are; it says what they're for. So even if you was to follow biblical, are you then saying that he's no longer saying that the sun and moon are in the firmament? He can't say that.
That's the position that, yes. No, he's not saying that. That's Russian Vids reading between the lines. Yeah. But yes, that is what Russian Vids has taken umbrage with. Correct.
Yeah, I understand now. Thanks, guys.
Right, I have a question. So it's a nitpicky one, but did David Weiss say exactly, this is what I always say, or this is what I've always said?
I can't remember.
Which one?
I can't remember.
Because
but
if
either
you say,
way,
I always say, that means not literally what it says. That means that's what you said. Like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. It's like a saying thing. It's not a literal statement when you say it like that. But if he said, I've always said, then it is literal, and then it would be incorrect.
Send a text message. Can he not get a little bit of attitude in that regard?
This is flat Earth, baby.
I know. And people are very sensitive to this. And again, I just want to point this out, that I don't in any way disagree with Russian Vid's standpoint. I hope I've made that clear as well. So it's like, more power to you. I don't necessarily agree with the manner it's done in, but Russian Vids is who he is. He does what he does. And when he takes umbrage with somebody, you know, no offence, Russian Vids, he's also a bit fickle. In other words, he will just take stuff back if he's proven to be wrong. He's like, I was wrong about that. You know, same goes for Richie from Boston. You know, I shouldn't laugh. He does seem a little bit fickle, and they're like, well, I got that wrong. You're like, well, at least you can admit it. There are so many people on this discussion that can't just stand up and say that. So it is refreshing to see it. But like I say, go on, whoever that was.
I just think he's a little bit too easy to grab to the infighting. It's done. Look, he's been around for a long time, and he constantly does that. It gets on my nerves. I don't like it when he does that. It's not productive, in my opinion.
Who are you talking about?
Russian Vids.
Doing what? What does he do that annoys you? Russian Vids today?
Attacking people's character. Making, like, he said about David Weiss, like, oh, you're not a Christian. You're actually a false prophet. It's like, why would you go there? That's absolutely ridiculous over that.
Hold on. He's saying this like he hasn't contextually given a reason why he said that. So when Dave Weiss has decried being anything, that opens the door for Russian Vids to do that. When I watched his video, which was lengthy, I didn't see any particular part and go, that's just a baseless assertion. He's at least backing it with some evidence. So, for example, he's taken that, he's made connections, again, given his disclaimers about it being a bit of a stretch, or people may be perceiving it as being a bit of a stretch. But no, here's my justification, says Russian Vids. And he'll present that piece of information where Dave has decried being anything. Perfectly legit. Why wouldn't he? Why would he? Who cares either way? But that's what he's taken. And then he said, look, here's him standing on the first step of a ladder backwards. Now, that's a Masonic gesture. Now, he can demonstrate that. I've seen it before on the drawing boards, the Masonic boards. And you go, okay, yeah, I can see your connection being drawn there. Now, it's flimsy, but that's his connection. That's his justification. More power to him. At least he's got one. At least he showed something. However, it would be very easy. Now, whether or not Dave Weiss chooses to do this or not, I don't know. I assume he will. He's scheduled a show with Jaren, so be here or be sphere for Jarenism tonight, 7 p.m. UK time, and you might find out, because DITRH is on that channel. Russian Vids is in the title. I assume they will be discussing this. And it's easy for David Weiss to look at it and go, okay, this is what he's presented. This is my challenge to it. Simple. The high-impact Vids did the same thing. He looked pretty pissed when he got there. But, you know, he just said, no, this is what you've said. Here's my justification for it. And then there was a rebuttal, and then they moved on. It was how it should be. But it's a bit, you know, that Russian Vids' style is to just call people out on these things. And that's what he's done. And, you know, it's we'll see how much he set the cat amongst the pigeons. He certainly got me talking about it, right?
I'm sorry, I don't feel like that at all. I think he's just, like, why? Like, is David Weiss really like I'm this intellectual official representative? No, he's just talking about it, and he makes mistakes. even in his conversations, and he gets sloppy sometimes. Like, he's just a guy, and he's a
No.
likable guy,
I totally
and he
disagree.
makes mistakes.
Wrong. No, that's wrong. I can't even say that. As much as I might say, I haven't got a great big channel and I'd love to be big and all the rest of it, there is a certain level of responsibility that comes with the position that we have taken upon ourselves to talk about. Now, David Weiss is in that position. He has a certain responsibility, and it is to be expected that you're going to be called out by people like Russian vids who do what they do. And as much as it might irritate DITRH, sometimes you have to justify it. Now, you could argue, and you are, well, he's just a guy, he's just going to make mistakes, and yeah, that's a perfectly legitimate argument. DITRH, David is just human, and he will make mistakes, but he's under heavy degrees of scrutiny in a very paranoid, less so than back then, but perhaps still to a certain extent, a paranoid community, and sometimes they want a little bit of pandering to. And sometimes when they call you out, they'll do it in a way that's overt and outrageous, like this with Russian vids. But as I keep saying, that is just Russian vids doing what he does, though. It's not like he's not performing to type. That's what he does. And typically,
I don't see that as a good thing. Why would you justify paranoid behavior, even though it's
not justifying
less than it was before?
I'm not
That's
justifying
not a good thing at all.
I'm not justifying it. I'm just stating it as a fact. You're telling me that the community isn't paranoid?
Yeah, and it's bad. So somebody actually playing into that is bad, Nathan.
You're saying I'm justifying Russian vids who's playing into people's paranoia? That's not for me to justify. I'm not Russian vids. You take it up with him. I'm not disputing that or claiming that's the case.
He banned me from his chat, so.
Oh, well, that's your problem. Right, look, I like Russian vids, and I don't care if you don't like me liking him. It's no reflection on me what I choose to watch on YouTube. So, I like Russian vids, don't care. This is of
but
subject.
Words matter, though.
It's of subject.
We're talking.
It's of subject. This is on a housekeeping question. Any evidence of the distance to the sun? That is a concise way of saying, how far are the luminaries? Are they infinite distance, a la the sextant claim, centre of presupposed spherical Earth angle measurements that are actually taken from the surface? Are they the distances claimed in the heliocentric model with orbital mechanics? Or are they triangulatable, actually non-physical flat Earth positions? What's the distance? Well, in this instance, we've got DITRH taking a position that I actually find very favourable. I commented on both Russian vids and Jeronism's video in that regard, saying, actually, there's no need to make a claim about what the moon is in terms of it being a projection. We know what it isn't. And further to that, there's no need to make a claim, because if you do, you've got to defend it. Who needs that? Unless you actually know, and then, tell me, please.
So in
up to 3 are winning units.
Not making a claim, but in the counter, has he come out and said? He'd come out and say, heliocentric space is a vacuum, definitely a load of nonsense. Has he come out and said the same with regards to a biblical description of the heavens? Has he said no, that's nonsense as well, or just said I don't know?
He said he don't know.
Just said he didn't know.
What's the problem there? No.
David's never gonna be like anti-biblical like that. I mean, Jaron might have been a little bit like that, but more about Christians than about the Bible itself.
I'm not so asked about the person.
David never. I've never heard David like really talk down to it like that.
It's more the change of position, Arwin, than any individual. So you've gone from, even if you held a position, which I think is perfectly reasonable to say, the way I always envisaged it is from a scriptural point of view, to going down this road and saying, actually, I can't make that claim. I can't justify that claim. And therefore, I'm not going to make it anymore. I may have viewed it like that in the past, but I don't. And I don't see that as particularly as anything antagonistic either towards anybody who does hold a unverifiable opinion other than it being in scripture. So I don't. It seems a simple thing to sort out as well. It doesn't seem like it's a real big beef. I'm lost as to the impact it's had.
Well, as I said when it was Morgile, who I've sent the link. I keep sending them the link. Maybe it's just too early for him. Who knows? We'll find out soon enough. But the same thing applies here. Go and subscribe to Russian vids, watch his video, and form your own opinion. Maybe leave him a comment. Maybe subscribe. When you do, say Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. if you haven't subscribed to him already. So, you know, rather than just hearing us passing our opinions on this beef between DITRH, high impact flicks and Russian vids, and Richie from Boston for that matter, then, you know, what you need to do is actually go and watch the primary source material, see the claims, see the evidence that's actually being presented to back the claims, and then you can form your own opinion. So subscribe today. Russian Vids is the name of the channel. Is it RV Truth now, actually? I think the channel's
RV
name.
Truth, yeah.
RV Truth is the name of the channel. Another shout out to Mike808 for smashing the super chat. Really appreciate the support. He's done it twice in the last couple of minutes. And also Godzilla37 is a projector. Also, Indeedy got the first of many probably invoices for things that are broken on it. 300 quid yesterday. A couple of people did send me PayPals as well, so you know you are. Thank you very much indeed for sending me PayPals. I really, really appreciate it. We got any more on this? No, Nathan, we're done talking about Russian vids. Really? I thought this would go on a lot longer. Yeah, this is where it runs out.
What? One final point to make on it, and it's not even about the conversation really. It's more about the standards that we hold ourselves to. So outside of the argument, to me, it's good for the community, in air quotes, yeah, that we can do it civil, but we do hold ourselves to this level of scrutiny. It's took me a while to figure out what exactly the beef is. It's not like a big flip that somebody's doing, but even that small thing is being asked to be justified in the community. So I think if done the right way, I think it's a positive thing for us all. Civility costs nothing in my book. So.
And in the interest of balance, Russian Vids is a dick. What the hell's he doing?
Yeah, I hate both of them and like both of them. Yeah, as well. I think the point being, look, you wouldn't see the ballers holding within themselves to these standards and maintenance of position. So positive in there if done the right way.
I'm sure there'll be no love lost between them. This will get resolved. And if it doesn't, then so be it.
I think he's a source of infighting, and he was that from the very beginning, and that's terrible. It's exactly what we don't need. The guy's officially attacked a whole bunch of people.
Be specific.
That didn't deserve it.
Be specific when you say the guy.
RV. When the first infighting broke out among flat earthers, he was right there leading it, pretty much.
So you're calling Shillery on RV for causing infighting? Okay.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Also, has he ever been on camera?
Guys.
Has he ever been on camera? Why do we still respect him?
Hey, that's a good point. That was part of the title from Jeranism. Who cares? Why does that matter?
Because that's about just identifying yourself, being honest and truthful. And if you're actually truthful, you shouldn't have anything to fear from being
so you're
identified.
Saying being anonymous means you're lying? No.
Neil deGrasse Tyson's on camera.
Yep. Easy for him to lie. Very much on camera, high definition,
But
top
that's
quality
different.
focus.
But that's different. He's overt. Yeah, he's not pretending to be a flat earther.
So why? Because we're flat earthers, we're of a higher standard in terms of us needing to put out our face for some reason. Is that right, Pete Shea?
Yeah. Yeah, Pete Shea at least is identified.
Really?
He shows who he is.
What matters more? What kind of mustache I have or the words that come out of my mouth?
Mustache.
Well, yeah.
Isn't the
Then I know
argument
you're
more
a real
important?
person and not
Can't you just
somebody that can
address
act
the
like he's
argument?
other people. Right?
What?
If you identify
Can you
yourself,
just address
you're
the
less likely
argument
to
rather
become...
than try and pick on the character?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, he's asking you a question. He's saying,
Middle of a sentence.
well, just listen to him, Arwin. He's actually asking you a question. Just one more time, Rams.
Why don't you just address the issue instead of attacking the character?
Well, the issue is the attacking of characters and the sowing of paranoia.
No,
And-
the issue is the argument.
Well, there barely is any argument. It's a nitpick argument.
Are you claiming he's
So they
making
defeat it.
things up, or
But like
otherwise
right now,
address the actual reasonings behind his view?
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, they're as good as negligible. Like, why is it worth like sowing paranoia about somebody because they're slightly off? Like, everybody
Have
I
you got
watch
an
out there
example?
is slightly. I'm in the middle of a sentence. Everybody out there is slightly off in ways. Everybody. Does that mean I'm going to attack everybody for not being exactly perfect? No. That's called sowing paranoia. That's poisoning the well. It's bad news. It's not good for everybody. And people latch onto that behavior and then echo it, making everything worse.
Okay, you're distorting your mic, but in the interest of balance, I'd just like to say Russian Vids is, in fact, perfect.
You're attacking everybody that doesn't have a camera, though.
No, I don't. Do
You just
I attack
did.
everybody that doesn't have a camera, or did I just bring it up as an argument why I don't think he's very reliable on top
So-
of everything
Sounds
else?
like you're making excuses for people's bad behaviour.
Who's bad behaviour? Who's
He's feeding
behaving
it.
badly? Hold on. You've got to be specific. Who are you talking about? Who's behaving badly? And what is the bad behaviour that specific person you haven't mentioned has been doing?
Well,
Rams.
the claimed bad behaviour that's arising from RV that Arwen is claiming, Arwen's putting the responsibility of that bad behaviour on RV rather than on the people who are doing the bad behaviour that he's
So what-
criticising.
What's bad behaviour? What is it that's bad
am I?
behaviour? Hold on. Alwyn.
I don't know. What is it,
Well,
Arwen?
that's my issue. So I keep saying Russian Vids
Yeah.
is doing what he does. So therefore, when he does it with NASA, it's all good. Hooray. When he does it with DITRH, exactly the same thing. Oh, no, that's bad. Oh, that's a stretch. Hold on. Well, DIRTH's got a pair of lips. He can and will address this. So what's the deal? It's just Russian Vids doing what he does. What's the problem? Where's the bad
Sowing
behaviour?
paranoia.
It's a
I
bit
mean, is
like,
this still a
you're
question
attacking
towards me,
somebody
or
I
have you-
No,
like.
Rams.
you having a
No,
discussion
Arwen.
amongst
Isn't it obvious?
yourself
Because
about me and my
bloody hell,
presence
Arwen. Is it not obvious while I'm talking to Rams by name, asking him a specific question by name, that it's not addressed to you? Is that not obvious? Bloody hellfire. You just moaned at him for talking straight through you. Now you're asking, when I ask Rams by name, if it's directed at you. No. Go ahead, Rams. Bad behaviour.
Yeah, I'm done.
Fine.
Right.
I don't see it as bad behaviour. Yeah? At some point, at some stage in my YouTube career, I expect to be called a shill by Russian Vids for something I've done that he takes umbrage with. And he'll do it and address it in the way that he addresses everybody else in every other instance. So will I suddenly go, oh, well, then Russian Vids is evil? I'm like, no. Here's what he's pulled up. Here's how I address it. And hope that resolves the issue, if there is one. Now, if there's an unresolvable issue that he has with me, then that would be unfortunate. And I am in no doubt whatsoever that this is not an unresolvable issue between DITRH and Russian Vids. It'll just get addressed and resolved. And then everyone will move on. It'll be that simple. Unlike the ballers, whoever said that, I don't know, mentioned this earlier, but someone was like, yeah, unlike the ballers who don't in any way self-police themselves. In fact, if they come out with some nonsense about, everything being food, they'll pat each other on the back and commend the nonsense, complete shit talk that's come out of their compadre's mouth. On the spot, they'll back them up. It's unbelievable what we witness from our opponents in that regard.
it's
Can you
like
hear me,
booga
Ryan?
booga, booga, That's what that conversation sounded like to me. Booga, booga,
When Chocolate, when you have summarized points that have been made on this channel, concerning whatever the subject. Just because I couldn't see your face didn't take away from the validity of your point. Now, I didn't need to know if you had a
You
mustache.
can't see how fresh my mustache is. That's what it is.
Yeah, I didn't need to see
Or,
your mustache.
or if I have one or not.
Correct. Yeah, so I don't understand what that has to do with anything.
Chocolate's anonymous for different reasons. So Chocolate's got a very beautiful face, and you'd have people pestering him for modelling work all the time if he was on camera. He just doesn't need that shit.
Facts.
Well, nice transition, but that I want to put the pressure on Arwen for a false statement.
Oh, really, 10th?
Oh, really?
Oh, I'm the bad man now, am I?
You just said that if you don't have your face on camera, you can't trust the guy.
And what did I mean with that?
Ask him what you meant with that, right? No. Go on. What did you mean with it, Arwen?
Stay out of it.
Addressed directly to you,
I'm
Arwen.
talking to 10th right now.
Yeah, and I'm saying...
It's a serious question. What do you think?
And I'm saying 10th is asking what you meant by that when you said not appearing on camera makes you distrustworthy.
Yeah. And with that, I mean, like, ever. Never, ever doing that. Yeah? Don't mean like, oh, you have to be on camera all the time. Right? That's not what that means. It means that you have yourself identified at some point. That's
Chocolate saying he's identified himself. Chocolate saying.
Okay, hold on.
I've seen him.
Hold on.
That's right.
Hold on. Hello.
Face,
Chocolate.
yeah.
Hold on. No. I know what. Oh, but I almost said his name. Almost doxed him. I know what Russian Vids looks like and what his name is. So, if that was the same case with you, would you suddenly feel that he was trustworthy if you were privy to that information in the same way I am?
Well, he would be less untrustworthy. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Well, thanks for proving my point.
How did you see him? How did you,
Hold on,
see him on a video?
Hold on, Arwen. Hold on.
Did
Go
you
ahead,
see
10th.
him on a video, or
Oh,
did you
God,
meet him
this
in
is
person?
painful. Arwen, please. Go ahead, 10th. Do you want to actually make your point?
I'm out of here,
Well,
dude.
I think Arwen just
I'm not
made
going
the
to sit
point.
through this anymore. Bye.
Oh, thank you so much. Now we can have some peace. He says something, he can't defend that, then he runs away. This is Arwen's MO. He called me a liar last week. He attacked Paula on the panel in chat last week. He says F off to Neil, Brian, Eli. You need to go and get some help, Arwen, and treat your panel members properly, whether we have a mustache or not.
In the interest of balance, Arwen is ace.
In the interest of balance, Arwen's immature.
In the interest of balance, Arwen never told me to F off because that'd be a problem.
Yeah, beautiful people don't get treated like that, Chocolate.
Exactly.
Yeah, but how do we know Chocolate's beautiful? He never shows himself.
I've seen him. Am I lying, Chocolate?
No, you guys see me.
There you go.
That was a dig on Arwen's argument that had no grounds.
Right. I completely agree with you.
Can I ask what?
Anonymity doesn't mean you have any more or less credence. And being open and public doesn't mean you've got more credence. It doesn't make you any more or less.
I don't agree. I agree.
Okay, why not? Okay, go ahead. Why not?
It adds credibility and trust to your position if you're prepared to put your face to it. Because if I say ABC and I don't mic up or camera up, then you're irrelevant. But if you say ABC and you stand by it and you don't hide anything, you do add an element of trustworthiness to your claim by not being a faceless troll.
So Anthony,
It depends on the subject.
So Anthony,
I
my
think
friend.
it depends on the subject.
So Anthony, my friend, I don't put my face on. I have a
I also agree as well.
I'm in the middle of a
agree with
talking point. I'm in the middle of saying something. Thank you. I put up 2 years of research almost on the sextant. I'm making it known. You don't see my face. Does that invalidate my research?
No, doesn't invalidate your research, but you do add credibility to your research if you do face up.
I do add credibility by citing it and referencing it and having everyone be able to find it to realize I'm not making something up. That's how I add credibility.
Sleeping Warrior's right.
Okay,
Okay,
so-
Sleeping Warrior's right.
Excuse me, Tommy. I'm in the middle of talking, Tommy.
Listen, I've got respect
Thanks,
for
Tommy.
conspiracy.
Thanks for making this
Pussy's face.
conversation unlistenable. Sleeping Warrior, all you've done is repeat your claim. You didn't actually add any meat to the bone.
Okay, let me add meat to the bone. Let's give an example. Red's rhetoric, for example, famously won't show his face because he admits that he's the ugliest guy in the world. Does anybody really take his claims seriously? Not
His
really.
claims aren't correct. So, are you saying that having a face would make a lie seem more legitimate?
Yeah. So if Rumpus, for example, was to face up and show us who he is, it does add sincerity.
It does.
Sincerity is a different word. Credence and sincerity aren't the same thing.
If
I'm
I
using them as
make
synonyms.
1,000 videos, but the best videos of proof of the flat Earth, but the incredibly best that you cannot imagine even how are they good with all data, with all things. You want to see my face?
You don't have to hide behind a
Okay,
curtain.
so
This is the point,
let's push it
Sleeping
one step
Warriors right
further.
there.
Let's say
Shall I present my face then?
If you're facing up to you're educating the world on what you think about something, then you should be able to stand by it, wouldn't you? And show your face to it. And that's
But if I want only to present you the truth.
Look at Nathan Oakley, right? He puts his whole name on there, and he comes.
But that's all right. But I'm telling you, some person decide. But some person can decide. I want to show the truth, not my face.
Sharing over me. Relax.
Yeah, but you also
relax. Okay, relax. Look, at the end of the day, I think that Sleeping Warrior's got a great point. I also agree with Arwin. They willing to put their face to their claims and say what they're saying that's outrageous, right? Or is not outrageous, actually is true. That people that actually believe what they're saying should be able to say it with their face, communicate. Why hide behind a curtain like you're like the Wizard of Oz or something?
Why do you assume we're hiding? Why do you think? Why don't you ask
we
me?
can't see your face, can we? Can you see the Wizard of Oz's face? No, you're behind a curtain, and you're trying to talk to me like you're not hiding behind a curtain.
Yeah, but why Banksy is hiding?
The actual data that you're dealing with. It's the data that and the argument that you want to.
Yeah, but hang on, guys. If you got, let's say we've got two opposing views. You've got the red and you've got the blue. And you've got the red team that's being presented by a table of 5 blokes, all of which are cameraed up, and you can see them talking, you can see them disagreeing, you can see the facial expressions where they agree or they strongly disagree with something that's being said, and you can see that expression. And then the blue argument is just symbols on the internet that you don't see anything. Which one's the most persuasive? Which one's the most credible? Which one's the most warming to somebody that's genuinely sat on the fence?
The one you experience with the people,
Who
obviously.
cares?
The one that's more
Sorry,
intimate.
the one that brings the most facts.
Yes, exactly, Rams. The one that brings the most decent, verified information. In the same way as if you say, well, we've got a book, and that book is capable of being picked up, containing all of the same information, and read by an individual, or it can be picked up by a person on a camera and read to an audience. Well, is the book more credible because it's read by a nice person rather than you reading it yourself? The fact that the information presented by 10th Man has a narrator is a step up from it just being the information published. He could just as easily take all of his information, publish it online, and not even put his name to it. Wouldn't even have a name, it'd just be information for you to acquire whether you wanted it or not. So while it might give you a nice warm fuzzy feeling to see people's faces, it doesn't change the credibility of their information.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
If you're in the middle and you don't know which way to go.
It's actually something that's used to assassinate the character, to destroy the argument, rather than...
Riven, you're talking straight through him. Go ahead, Rams.
It's, this whole identifying yourself thing is used to either destroy the character credibility of the person for some reason, because it doesn't actually help the argument that the person's put forward if you're assessing the argument on its merits.
Listen, I think you and Nathan have got a point that it still is credible information regardless of if it comes from behind the curtain. But I do think that also what stands true is that it's much better when it's faced with the actual delivery. Like even Nathan agrees that the book itself, information, we have to agree that the information is all that matters. But at the same time, it would be better if it was read by the person who wrote the book. You know, because the book itself, which could anybody can claim, wouldn't it? And
I think there's a distinguishment here between facts and influence. That's probably the point Tony's making.
And also, can I get in on this? Merit
of the facts, then that's kind of irrelevant when you appraise it. But if a position is presented, then as a human being, you receive that message in a more favourable way. If you've got other ways of receiving the message, i.e. MVC, as Tony was highlighting. But I think fundamentally, no. When you get to the point of analysis of the data, it doesn't really matter because you're then analysing the data, not being influenced to accept the data.
I get, yeah, you can't character assassinate, you're right, and you shouldn't really judge the person, but like I said, you know, you do have right that the information is the information, and I think regardless where it comes from, I think that it's valuable, and I think, but at the same time, I do think the person who creates the information, it's better when they host it and they implement it.
Hey, Tommy.
Hey,
Tommy. The person with the face ran away. I'm still here.
Facts.
Can I get in on this real quick?
Yes. Okay. Go ahead, Paul.
I got one name, Brian Mullen. I remember when Flat Earth first started, he put his face out there. He put his name out there. Okay. And because he did that, he had good information, credible information. He's an engineer, correct? Where is he at now? Because of what?
He was chased off the scene.
Someone.
If he had the anonymity, he might not have been found out, and then he might still be on the scene producing his videos.
Exactly. So if someone chooses not to show their face, and I've showed my face, I've been on Nathan's show, I've shown it. My name was even on there for a long time. So it is the information that's the more critical thing. But if someone chooses to hide behind something, whether it be Rumpus, 10th Man, me, whoever, we might be trying to protect other things other than just our reputation. There might be a family need or providing for the family. You know, Brian Mullen almost lost his job.
No, I get that. But what you do also get a lot of people pretending to be people that they're not, and they're on the internet being very, very negative. You know, I experience a lot of negative people who message me and say very stupid things, and you know, comment on on different accounts on YouTube and all that, saying stupid like Earth and stuff. They spend time making fake accounts, and you can ban them, and they'll make a new account, and they'll laugh at you on the new account, and they'll know that you're doing it. And as soon as you upload a video, you've automatically got a thumbs down. I mean, these people live to stalk my life because I said that I'm skeptical about the globe. So to imagine what you must be getting, what sort of emails and messages and stuff, it's just it's unbearable.
It is. It's absolutely terrible. But we interrupt this discussion to give you a slight e-begging appeal. So every year, a projector dies from abuse and neglect. Pixels that are neglected, projector lamps that aren't changed. It's a horrendous situation. But for just £5 via this show's PayPal link in the information box, you too can support a projector bringing it back to life. Support projectors, people. Smash that PayPal link. Thank you.
I want to respond to him.
Hear the music.
If you're out about, good. I want to respond to what he said, because why are you out here? If you're out here because of the likes or dislikes or comments, then you're out here for the wrong reason.
No, I'm here to try and get my projector fixed. Smash the PayPal link, people. Projectors.
Anyway, so why are you out here? If you're out here for money, well, Nathan is, obviously, which is fine.
Yes.
Nathan makes a living.
Yes, I am here for money. I'm saying, please smash the PayPal link. I've got a broken piece of equipment that I can't afford to fix. Please help me.
Yeah, come on.
Exactly why I'm here.
Lamp life matters.
Right, projector lives matter.
Yeah.
No, lamp life.
Lamp lives matter.
Yeah.
Mine was producing beautiful white light. Now it's black and dark.
As long as everyone should donate money, as long as he promises when he becomes a millionaire, he can, he gives me, I don't know, a couple of million or something like that.
I don't want to be a millionaire. I just need 300 quid.
On that subject, Nathan, of light and dark, it's you don't tell me.
It's going to come for you one day. I don't know who it's going to be. Because there's only one person's going to be ready for debate, and they're going to trying to monetize it. It'll be a big platform. I can see it happening. Nathan Oakley versus, I don't know, what's his name? That mixed race guy, that astrophysicist.
You're mumbling, Tommy.
Before we go on to another
guy, that famous guy, the mixed race one.
Hold on, Tommy. Hold on one second.
Just a couple before you. I know we're getting to the hour. And he was talking about light. It is Diwali today, so I just want to wish everybody on the panel happy Diwali, particularly my best friend, and anyone else out there that celebrates it. So yeah, happy Diwali.
Otherwise known as the Hindu Festival of Lights.
Sorry to interrupt that.
Yes, where
I
they
was just
celebrate
saying,
light over darkness, hope over despair.
Working projectors over failing projectors.
Correct. Working, mended, fixed projectors over broken ones. We've
You'll
we've
get
got
an
10
invite
minutes
one day,
left.
Nathan.
We started a little bit late because of no trees.
Don't you think we'll get an invite one day?
Yeah, but
from
look
a
where we
high
branched
profiler?
off to.
Hold on. Go ahead, Tommy.
But you reckon you'll get an invite from a high profiler?
Invite from
one day,
who?
like for a debate or something.
An
I
invite
reckon
from
Joe
who?
Rogan show or someone might get you on, like a big stage, like a big platform, to debate flat Earth with somebody.
Yeah, I can assure the audience it's not because there's a delay. That's just Tommy. An invite from who?
I reckon you should get like on a big platform, like with Joe Rogan, like to debate flat Earth with like some of the biggest names, like maybe against the astrophysicist. I can't remember his name. He already said that you can't see it's all flat. That stuff is flat. Like you could debate with someone like that, like a high profiler. Because I think if anyone's going to debate like a high profiler, like flat Earth, like all the big channels,
guy
should be you.
that
NDT.
guy said he personally would not debate flat Earth. The guy you're talking about, smoking the grass, Neil Tyson.
That's it, nigga.
Yeah.
That's it, nigga.
Actually, chocolate.
Yeah.
That comes back to Tony's point, doesn't it? Because DeGrasse said, I wouldn't debate them because if they had more charisma than me, I could lose a. What did he call? What did he describe it? Is his truth or
He has the objective truth. Therefore, he won't debate somebody because he could lose, being that his opponent might have better personality or character. You
That's
can look that up.
projection.
He
That's
said that.
pure projection. What that says is all Neil deGrasse Tyson relies on is his persona and charisma. That's what he's reliant on because he doesn't have truth. So he's not going to say, well, I rely on persona and charisma to tell my lies, and somebody might come out there with truth, which will definitely overcome all of my personality and charisma. So he just projects that out onto his opponent. Oh, well, my opponent might overcome my objective truth because they've got more persona than I have. No, it's the other way around, you tosser. You've got no truth, you've got no science, but you have got a nice waistcoat and a turn of phrase for an interviewee that you can have a little glimmer in your eye with. Shout out to Unitox Femu, who says, Banksy is not a good artist. He doesn't show his face. Good point. Anybody know who Banksy is?
Yeah, he's the graffiti artist that does pop-up sprays on walls and is worth millions and millions of.
Did you see what his most recent stunt? What happened to his most recent stunt? Anybody see this?
Yeah, we destroyed the
Not
painting.
quite. Almost. So I'll just.
Yeah, cool. Half of it.
He destroyed half of it. So he auctioned off a painting that he put into a very suspiciously large frame because it was concealing a shredder, quite literally. And once the auction had been complete, he remote controlled the shredder to run the painting through the shredder. The idea being that it would be made worthless after its purchase. What actually happened was, like a shredder does, it got jammed halfway through. So the guy, I don't know the exact numbers, but just for ease of numbers, the first guy pays, say, 10 million for this Banksy framed artwork. He then goes to collect it, sees that half of it's hanging out the bottom of the frame, the other half's still there, and then resells it for like 10x what he paid for it, because it becomes a new piece, right? His expression of his want to destroy this art becomes a new piece of much more valuable art. So I'm sure Banksy's going, oh, Jesus Christ, that is not what I intended at all. He wanted to make it worthless. Instead, he made it 10x the value.
No, I was just talking about this kind of crap the other day. These people set this kind of thing up to multiply the value, not decrease it. So I guarantee you they were in cahoots, and that's how it worked out.
Maybe. I don't know if you know the backstory to. If you know the backstory to Banksy, is, as I understand it, the guy is actually quite a humble guy, and isn't actually chasing the riches. Now, that all could just be backstory and hyperbole. But as I understand it, I'm not that well versed with Banksy, but I know a reasonable amount about the guy. No, that's not his motivation. And I can absolutely see, based on my understanding of who Banksy is, that his logic would be that he did definitely want to destroy it. Now, you might just say, oh, no, that's a 20, now probably 30-year-long narrative that's been built up so we could increase the value on this one specific piece. Maybe. But I don't think so, honestly. I think he just wanted to shred it.
Hey, Nathan, there's a message for you from Paula about Godzilla's super chats that are going unnoticed.
Oh, my bad, Godzilla. Always Godzilla as well, isn't it? He's super chatted in the past saying, here's my 1 in 2 super chats that aren't getting mentioned. I don't see any super chats from Godzilla. Godzilla, this is for chocolate. A chocolate projector. Wait, that's not going to last that long. No, that's right, Godzilla. Chocolate projector, a bit like a chocolate teapot. Thank you very much for the super chat. If I missed another one, Godzilla, I'm really sorry. And thank you for letting me know, Paula.
Shout out to Godzilla.
And let's do a few shout outs to who we mentioned today. So, subscribe today to RV Truth. That's Romeo Victor Truth. I believe it's all one word. So, RV Truth, formerly Russian Vids. Check out his channel. Check out his opinions and points of view on DITRH and High Impact Flicks, I think it's called, that came out about 8 hours ago. Also, shout out to DITRH, Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. Check out his channel. He's also got an app, so check out his Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. And the People Finder within there is very useful and is getting a lot of attention at the moment, so well worth checking out. So check out the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, which is brought to you by DRTRH. Also check out Jeranism. So Jeranism channel is going to be holding the discussion tonight, 7 PM UK time, if you're watching this in the UK. And I believe that is 2 PM Eastern. Is that right? I don't know. Something like that. The clocks are all over the place at the moment, so I'm a bit confused in terms of the times. But there or thereabouts. Check out Jeranism's channel, who has DITRH on that particular discussion. I think it's called the Baby Truther Show. And Russian Vid's name is in the title, so I'm certain they will be discussing this aspect of what we have discussed for the majority of today's show, in terms of the moon, its projection within the firmament, and some of the spirals and subliminals that are put to effective use by DITRH and some of his logos and branding. So I'm sure all of that will get addressed by DITRH himself on Jeranism's show tonight. So be here or be sphere for Jeranism's show. Subscribe today to DITRH and check out RV Truth. Anybody else want to plug anything else that I forgot in terms of other channels that we've mentioned on today's show? Don't all go at once. Did I forget anybody? No?
No, I don't think so.
Or there was someone else I mentioned.
I just had to say, yeah, that if somebody truly believes in what they're teaching, I think they should, when they put their identity to it, and they project it in a room for the people and teach them organically, I think it has more weight. I think writing the data may be true, but actually verbalizing it and teaching others.
No, I agree. I completely agree, Tommy. If you believe what you're teaching, and what you're teaching is a belief, then appearing on camera will give more credence to your belief that you are teaching. However, if you've just got factual information, it doesn't need to be presented by anybody. It could just be written down or published on a website. It wouldn't make the slightest bit of difference to the quality of the verified information that is presented in an information-based format. It doesn't have to be spoken about. It doesn't have to be on camera to be talked about. It just has to be good information. That's all that really matters. That's my opinion. Obviously, we'll discuss it in the after show, so stay tuned if you're watching on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premier streams, as there will be an after show to follow. A massive, huge, enormous thank you, most of all, to all of you who hit the PayPal link and help me out with my projector. I do need to raise a few quid to actually cover some repairs. I've already been told that it's going to cost £300 just to put a new bulb in before they even get to any of the actual repairs. So it's undoubtedly going to get more expensive, which is kind of depressing. But there we go. Part of my job, as I'm going to call it, is e-begging for support when required, and I am getting it. So thank you very much indeed to all of you who supported me thus far. But if you could, smash the PayPal link and help a projector in need. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching any of the programming stream. A massive thank you to all of you who did smash the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. I will see you all in the next video. Should have already mentioned it in the outro, but if you do go and subscribe to DITRH, Geronism or RV Truth, leave in your comment, Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me.
Hopefully, Nathan, on your plea for support for your projector, you won't get a light response.
Indeed. I just don't want to do a GoFundMe for a repair. If the I'm about to swear. Oh, fuck it, we're in the after show. If the fucking thing is broken, then I'll have to do a GoFundMe to raise enough money to replace it. As I've said, it's not the first time a projector's only lasted 2 years, in my experience, so it wouldn't be the first, but it would also be one of the shortest lived projectors I've ever had. But there we go.
Isn't it based on hours of bulb life, and you use it constantly?
Yes, but because the thing's running at very high temperatures and is made out of shitty plastic, they just don't last. They never do. I've probably had 10 or 12 projectors, so you know, that's just something you accept, that it's going to be a high expense, high maintenance. But it's ideal, especially the 4K one. I've got loads of screen real estate to put all sorts of different applications up all at once, so I can monitor it all, and I need to be able to do that. So I treat it like the scan, you know, on an airliner, they've got the scan, they just look at all the instruments one at a time. Well, I do that with the tabs as the show's running. That's why I say everything's going to take a little bit longer, because I'm constantly flicking through the tabs to see what's going on in Discord, to see what's going on in the live chat, to see what's going on the sound desk, to see what's going on the output stream, to see what's going on in the next frame to be presented stream, to see what's going on in G+. I'll just scan through all of it one by one. But if it was just all on screen, that's why I'm e-begging so hard to get these PayPals in, because if it does come with a bill...
Why don't you try getting like a huge monitor or something?
That's what it is. That's all it is. That's what it is. A 4K projector just gives me, essentially, it would be the same as having 4 1080p monitors at the end of the room, because that's essentially what you've got in pixels. 4 big, massive 40-inch TVs. That's what I've got. And that's what I need. I need 4 1080p monitors plus a 5th one that's closer. Now I'm down to 2. And yeah, it's massive, but it doesn't help me because, you know, I can only fit 1.5 program on the amount of pixels that's on it. I'm not moaning, by the way, Adam. I'm so grateful I can even do this. I just don't want it to sound like I'm ungrateful.
No, stop worrying. I was just thinking that wouldn't have even 4K wouldn't have even been around when that came out. That's only HD, isn't it? So is that why you reduced to? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Nathan, I've still got. Can I call bullshit?
Bullshit on what?
Well, it's just that Jose does it on a little stool and a laptop.
And does Jose's show look slick and good? Does he have great sound quality?
No.
Right.
I just wanted to call bullshit. In the interest of fairness, of course.
Look, there's certain parts of the pre-show. I'll give you an example, Anthony.
I have to have 3 screens just to do Iron Realm, and it's nowhere near as complicated as Nathan. So
exactly. No, I totally agree. Most people have got multi screens, 2 screens, 3 screens, and you know you need it if you're running a complicated show. I mean, what at
Have
the
you
moment,
considered
my
one of
worst
those
nightmare.
Ultra wides, one of those like 49-inch ultra wides.
Not the size that matters; it's the number of pixels.
Yeah, they have massive amount of pixels.
Sure, that's what the projector gave me, 4K. But how do you stash that in? If it's a small size screen, then the pixel density is so small that yes, you can fit a lot on it, but then you can't actually read any of it because it's so small. Yeah, that's no good either.
Oh no, these ones are 49 inches across, but only the usual sort of height.
Yeah.
So they span right across your desk or in front of you, and you can have like 4 or 5 pages next to each other on the one monitor.
Yeah, sure, I get that. Yeah, it's super wide. It's like having two 1080p screens next to each other. I think Anthony's got a super wide. Have you not, Anthony? I think he has.
34-inch ultra wide.
Yeah. So it's like having two. But having a 4K monitor is essentially the same as having 4 1080p monitors. Yeah? But the problem with just having 4K, i.e. I could achieve the same thing for much cheaper, just buy a 4K monitor. But then it's the size of the screen means that each individual piece of software is fitting on a tiny little piece of screen. So you can't read it. You can't see the sliders on the audio desk and things like that. So you need high density, high pixel, but also a large enough space so that you can actually see all of those things on each space.
They're big enough.
Nathan,
Yeah, I
Nathan.
gotcha.
Nathan, would it be fair to say that because you're so like meticulous, right? The way you dissect, like even the way you arguments, you're very meticulous. Like you need a set, the high equipment to monetize the show properly because you're so particular about details that even the slightest thing can just ruin your show, I guess. And having like equipment that doesn't keep with how you want to monetize it, I bet it stresses you out.
It's just being able to see everything all at once. So during the pre-show, I'm setting up for the live show, and as a direct result, I can't see the Discord server because it's not the thing I'm currently pressing buttons on. So it's hidden. It's on a tab that's hidden behind 5 other pieces of software currently. So I'm having a conversation with somebody, and I can't see if they're flashing. Now, sometimes when I'm doing more than one thing, I don't know that somebody's talking because I hear them. I just see their light flash because I can see Discord. Now, if I'm setting up something else, I like when I started shouting at Steve, that's my bad, right? That's me not coping. That's the reality. I've got too much, my workload's increased, and Steve is arguing with me something about, just coincidentally, I'm quite passionate about the No Trees and Mandela. There's a couple of others. But, he just caught me at a time when there's suddenly a high workload that's also increased by not being able to see everything all at once, in this case, Discord. To monitor if I just need to notch down the sound maybe a little bit if he's too loud because he's shouting and so am I. Things like that I can't do when I'm setting up the live stream. So we ended up being 10 minutes late. Now, on a normal day, that wouldn't have happened. I'd have been able to just have the conversation with him, and I'd have had all the software and could just, like with muscle memory, click, 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 get everything ready, get everything queued, get the live stream ready to roll, press the go button, press the intro button, pretty much while I'm still having the argument. But I can't if I can't see it. So suddenly the stress level goes up. So by the end, I'm shouting at Steve, just shut up! Because I want to get on with what I'm doing and I want to draw a conversation close so I can concentrate on where the hell the next tab I need is.
And you got to keep up the consistency. You make every show you've ever done. Intro and outro has always been there. Your music.
Sorry, Nathan.
Sorry, Mum.
Yeah, apologise, Steve. It was a great conversation. I'm apologising for losing my temper.
Hopefully one day you'll be able to hire someone to do all that technical stuff for you.
I doubt it.
No one will be able to do it as better good as he does anyway. I guarantee now he's so used to doing it, I don't know what he'd do without it. Imagine if you got called onto a show. About to monetize people and say someone actually monetize the show between the pair.
The show growth is steady. It's slow and steady. Yeah? In other words, all of my growth comes from sharing the show. That's the only reason the show has any growth, because people share the show. It's not being promoted. Our anti-flat earth counterparts are the thing that gets all the promotion. So any chances of slipping into that algorithm, minor though it is, it's not like I'm going on the bloody homepage. I'm not even dreaming of such lofty aspirations as my videos actually receiving promotion from YouTube. Far from it. But to even be in the list when you searched for, those menial things, the exact words in one of my video titles coming up if you typed them in. No, we don't even get that. So in terms of my aspirations for growth, I know what I can get from what people will give me in terms of the sharing. Same with my monetization, as you've mentioned it about 5 times. No, I don't earn a great living, but that isn't really my motivation for being here either. In the same way as we were talking about Banksy, some people aren't as money motivated as people like to think everyone is. For me, from a misquoting of the Bible when I was a very young child, I actually disliked money for a very large chunk of my life because my mum told me it was evil, said that money was the root of all evil. And that's what she taught me, and I accepted that. It was part of my cognition until many years later when my grandma pointed out, no, it's the love of money. I'm like, oh, right. So, my gearing and wiring in terms of my motivation towards money is very different to other people's for that very simple reason. But Banksy, same. From what I understand, he's not just there doing it so he can get more cash. And some people aren't like that. Me, I don't want excessive amounts of cash. When there's something that breaks, I'd like to be able to fix it. And sometimes that means putting my hand out. And I'll get commenters saying, get a job and pay for it that way. And I go, this is my job. Sometimes my job involves me putting my hand out and e-begging. Now, nobody wants to do that. But I accept it because the people who do take joy from the show also understand it because I'm very upfront about it. Yep, sometimes I'm going to have to ask you for money. That's how it is.
I was trying to say, it's trying to explain. It's other people says, even if you disagree with Nathan, even if you think he's a whatever, whatever you think about him, says he does provide a show every day that keeps the heart of the topic, as passionate as it was day one at 1,500. I says, if that isn't a job or if that isn't putting in work, something that needs to be rewarded, whether you like it or not, he's provided a service. And the stress to deal with that, the amount of electric you've had to use, the amount of times you have to meet up with people, conversations you've had, to be consistent, have your food, make sure you was on time. Do you know what I mean? That's a job.
Well, moreover, Tommy, the point I'm trying to get across is if you look at it in a comparison, which would I prefer? Would I prefer that there was almost no community support to be grateful for, but the show had, or the channel had 250, 500,000 subscribers, and I literally just made my living off the ad revenue. Just the money came in from AdSense each month, and that was enough to support me and my family. And as a result, I didn't have any community interaction or any requirement for any. It was just me chucking out my videos, and that was that. Or scraping by, but with the most fantastic people around you. And the joy I get when people do actually support me. It brings me joy when people are like, I want to support you. I see what you do is valuable. Here's money. And you go, that is, to me, far more rewarding than having excessive amounts of money so I didn't need to do it. Now, yeah, some people say, well, it's embarrassing. And sometimes it is embarrassing because you want to be able to say I'm successful and successful enough to not have to put my hand out. That makes a statement in and of itself. But I haven't got a crappy community around me who take the piss or are insulting or derogatory because of that. And plus, it's a bonus that a lot of people do it in the YouTube community, even if they are making enough money. They'll do that anyway. I'm not one of them. Typically I'll feel guilty and want to justify it as much as I possibly can. Show receipts and all the rest of the other crap when people scrutinise this stuff. Normally after the fact, with us flat earthers, it's during. Scrutiny comes while it's happening. But, that's part of it. And I, like I say, spin that, which is all it really is, positive spin it into saying, no, I really appreciate that there's a community good enough to do that because they value the work that's being done by me and all the people around me. That's you. I'm talking to the panel, not the audience.
I hear what you're saying, Nathan. And I guess, sometimes in life, when I was younger, my mate said to me, I'd only like a tin of beans in my cupboard and I'd like to work all week just to get another tin of beans. And I says, what do you mean, a tin of beans? That's the worst living ever. I said, I'd rather have my cupboards full. He goes, yeah, but if you think about it, when you work really hard, so little, them tin of beans are they're like a cupboard full of food. And I never really got that kind of idea to what you're saying now. Like, the fact that you have to work extremely hard for it and the fact that you get it from good people supporting you, it's 10 times more valuable than actually going and doing something systematic and having an easy income from having revenue and adverts. And I think that's what you're trying to say. The value in it is so much more because the people that are spurring you on are the people that also fully agree and see where you're going with it all.
There's a Bible story which I'm sure if 10th Man's around he'll correct me on my terrible rendition of this. But there's tidings are being asked for by the temple, and a guy turns up, let's pretend modern times equivalent, in his Rolls Royce with bags and bags of money, and walks into the church, dumps 5 bags of gold, and then goes, check it out, look how much money I've given. And hardly anybody bats an eyelid. Beggar woman comes in her rags, and she opens a purse and has got 2 coins in there. And she takes out one of the 2 coins. I can't remember if it's one or both, but either way, let's say it's one, and gives that to the church. Jesus goes over and thanks her profusely. And the guy with all the bags says, what the hell? I bought in bags of gold. This woman gives you one of her 2 coins, and she gets thanked profusely. And Jesus explains, to this woman, half of everything she owns is what's in that purse, and she's given it to the church. To you, 10 bags of gold is nothing. You've got a Lamborghini and 5 Ferraris, so what difference does it make? You haven't given up anything.
It'd be a GTI Camel back in them days.
GTI Camel?
Yeah.
Double
the
overhead camel shafts.
Yeah.
The rich guy was Ruhith. The old woman is the peons that are like me, Nathan, Adam, Norman. And look at what Ruhith does. He manages to dangle enough money in front of 1 or 2 of us, and they jump sides.
Really? When's that happened? I didn't know this. Hold on. Ruhith's dangling what for what now?
Yeah, Moneybags Ruhith, Sam Hine, Ranty.
What?
What about it?
Hold on. There's a lot of words been thrown out, Riven. Don't jump in. What?
Chill money.
You've obviously been asleep for the last decade. So Ruhith is Sam Hine. Sam Hine dangled lots of money to influence people to make decisions that they wouldn't ordinarily make. That's the rich guy dropping all the money in the church, saying, look at how much gold I've got. And then like little Ranty is the little old woman, only got 2 pence in her purse, and she puts one of them in the tithe. And the other guy gets angry. That's just like Ranty. You should change the names Ranty and Ruhith to old woman and rich guy. You could draw the perfect analogy.
Hold on. This is all very strange.
Yeah.
Sam Hine was a guy that dropped literally $500 a time super chats on people, right? That's Sam Hine, yeah?
Yeah.
You're saying that was Ruhith?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
Did he admit it?
Tacitly.
No.
He admitted it enough for me to realise that it was him, yes.
You're going to have to fill that in. You can't just leave that hanging.
Why? It's true. Do I have to explain?
What, do you hear earlier when Steve got a right ear bending?
No.
Right.
Oh, no, you're in for it.
Say again, Tommy?
I think he's in for it now, isn't he? He's in for it. I trust him, though. I think he's quite reasonable. I don't think he'd lie about it.
What was in it for him, Anthony? Let's just... I won't push you to actually prove your claim.
When you say him, are you referring to Ruhith?
Yes, what's in it for Ruhith to become a pseudonym Sam Hine and drop me personally probably $1,000?
So if he can get somebody that's on the fringe that's seen to be quite a big voice, if he can get them to jump ship by dangling carrots, then that is a big coup that's worth significantly more than $1,000.
Sorry, I don't understand. So you're saying that the purpose of dangling massive super chats in front of me personally was to try and entice me into changing sides? Unless I'm not picking up what was being put down, I never got that impression from the super chats from Sam Hine.
But
so
he's saying it didn't work on you.
Otherwise, you could be a globalist for a day to get a printer.
Were you ever asked by Sam Hine to do something or not to do something that you refused to do or refused not to do?
Not that I can remember.
Huh. Well, he dropped on me too.
I vaguely remember being asked to do something by Sam Hine and just saying, "Nah, I'm not going to do that directly there and then." But nothing.
And then he left you for a while, right?
I don't remember that being the case. I don't see any correlation. While I might have said I wouldn't do something specific, I don't know.
You're a busy man, though, weren't you?
So,
You've got big loads of messages of
I
people and stuff, and you just ignore them all. You don't really look
I
into what's
remember
being
when.
sent to you.
I remember
got
when
so many
something.
messages. Sorry.
I can't remember exactly what it was, Nathan, but I remember there was something that happened where basically it upset Sam Hine for some reason. Because it wasn't. I can't remember exactly what it was. You'll have to remember because I can't remember myself. But he vanished for a while. Now, ultimately, he was a big contributor to your show at the time, and whatever it was that we were arguing over, he was in the middle of it in some way. I can't remember. I can't remember what it was, but I'm saying that was a test for you to see whether you would do something that he wanted you to do. Essentially, could you be bought? And you couldn't. So he moved on. He moved on to Arwen, and I'm sure there would have been something similar with Arwen. And he moved on to Ranty, and eventually there was something there that Ranty could be bought for, because Ranty was quite vocal. He wanted to be successful on YouTube, and that was seen. And he saw that he was falling out with people, and he became on the fringe. And then if you dangled enough carrots, that grand that did not sway you swayed Ranty.
To do what though? When you say swayed him, because like I say, when he was dropping $100 super chats on me, there was no request to do anything I can remember that was noteworthy.
Yeah, but you did say you got a DM and you said no directly to him, but you can't remember what it was. But you probably get a lot of DMs, Nathan.
No, on a super chat. So on a super chat, he said, like, remove this person or ban this person, something like that. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to be doing that. Even though it was like $50 or whatever he sent me.
That's a test. That's the test to see whether he could buy your affections, and you refused it, and he couldn't buy your affections. So he moved on. He didn't come back for a while. And then in that same sentence, in that same period of time, Arwen was in and out of Arwen's chat. He was in and out of Ranty's chat, and he was basically dropping cash everywhere. But then something happened, and then he didn't drop cash anymore. And then so all of a sudden, we've got someone on the fringe that's jumped ship.
What's in it for? If we assume it is Ruhif, what's in it for him? So he convinces me to jump ship, and other than me becoming a turncoat and being one more anti-flat earther, how does that serve the interests of Ruhif, other than him being a flat earther, also an anti-flat earther?
Well, if you have money as no object because you are wealthy, then money doesn't have value to you anymore because you are already wealthy. Yet if you find somebody that needs it, like Arwen or Nathan or Ranty, and dangles that carrot, what's in it for him is that he can convert.
Listen, if anyone offers me £500, yeah, I'll be a fucking Glober today. I need a new printer. So
for 500 quid? For 500 pounds, you'd become a turncoat.
Dude.
Look at things.
Someone donate 500 quid to me, I'll be a fucking Glober.
Look at Joe Rogan. He said, "I'd sell you my granny if you could just see aliens," or words to that effect. Right? We've all got a price.
I'll even come and debate Nathan on the Globe as well.
I don't.
Okay.
So if somebody is but if you'd fallen out with everybody at the same time as because don't forget at this time there was basically COVID was beginning and people's livelihoods were changing and people started falling out with each other and stuff like that. If you're on the fringe and you get targeted financially by reward, it's very easy for you to be picked off, and that's exactly what's happened.
Yeah, but for what purpose? Let's reverse the scenario. So let's say I'm infinitely rich and money is absolutely no object to me. It holds no meaning anymore other than for pure sport in this regard. And I target Neil deGrasse Tyson or someone on the higher echelons of Globe Earth so that I can entice them over to Flat Earth. Okay, so I managed to do so. Bill Nye becomes a Flat Earther. Okay, great. It's cost me a lot of money, but I've managed to achieve it.
Yeah.
So what? I mean, I don't get it.
Now you've got the undivided loyalty of Bill Nye because he will do anything that you ask him to do. He will be your puppet. So if he wants you to wear if he wants yellow feathers and tie you and feather you, if he wants to tie you and feather you, you will let him do it because you're indebted to him because he kept your mortgage payments getting paid and you didn't lose your house because of him, because of the scenario that you were in. So you're always going to be his puppet.
Right, you're going to turn you into a newsreader.
Correct.
I see. So the person becomes a useful idiot.
Correct.
I see. Okay, because I was looking at I was trying to consider it from a more moralistic point of view, which is to say that from my perspective, I don't even care if people do convert to Flat Earth after hearing the show. You know, it really doesn't.
But let's go
affect me.
one step further. Let's do one step further and say, yeah, Nathan, I'll give you another grand if you do 3 hit videos against Bob Nodell, for instance. What's the next thing that's going to happen? Oh, video 1, Bob Nodell.
No, that wouldn't happen. I'd haggle.
It'd be at least 2 videos.
I'd be like, one video and I want 2 grand.
Yeah. But you see my point, though, right? If you buy someone's affections in that way, then you become tarred and feathered, which is essentially what's happened recently.
I see.
Did you see the picture of one particular individual wearing a NASA top recently?
Yes, I saw you. I didn't really understand the context, but there was a backdrop of my show with Ranty in a NASA top. What was the context? I just brushed past it in the chat this morning when I woke up.
Tarred and feathered is the context.
He's saying, Ruhif has said, wear this NASA top for me. Now take it off slowly.
Right, it looked very prostitution-like.
Tarred and feathered.
See, unfortunately, it's the only thing that it sort of makes sense, because Ranty all of a sudden believing the Earth is a ball again, and that we're, like, none of that made sense. Especially Ranty, who's done all these observations for years. Like, all of a sudden now you think that's Earth curve, bro.
Don't you know that lighthouse?
It never made sense, man. Remember? Like, it just, like, it all seems very suspect to me. So, I don't know.
But he saw that lighthouse footage, remember? And now suddenly it was a ball again.
All of a sudden that's Earth curve, yeah. Nah, I don't know. I always thought something fishy was going on with that.
I did hear somebody play back his rendition of his story. So one of the people, I can't remember, it was somebody I'm subscribed to, released a small section of him explaining his story to, I think it was Fight the Flat Earth, and maybe Simon Dan was there. I think Ruhif was there. Anyway, he's explaining this transition to them, and he's simultaneously saying, I stopped looking at it. I wasn't interested in it anymore. And I came across this video and thought, well, how can they explain this? So it's like, so your explanation is that you lost interest while simultaneously finding something that completely debunked something that you'd held true to for several years. Okay? So it's sort of, the story starts with doublespeak, in other words.
Was this before or after the editing of the image?
What you mean, before or after they cropped the image so it didn't have the uncomfortable and awkward horizon to have to explain away?
The left-hand side.
Yeah, he cut off the left part.
Well, he says he didn't do that. He said that that's the way he found it. But then when the evidence was presented, he didn't address the evidence. He just addressed the denial. And I'm like, yeah, but that evidence is important, Ranty. There's turbines on that land that should all be hidden, and the land shouldn't be seen at all.
Should they? So, meanwhile, the horizon's not Earth curve, so all of this is moot.
It's not really, though, because them turbines and that mound that those turbines are on should be below the horizon on their model.
What should be if we assume and assume that we've got a physical geometric sphere-edge horizon and 8 inches per mile squat drop from our position? Shouldn't be anything.
You interrupted me, Arwin. I said on their model.
Did you call me Arwin?
What, me?
I did.
That was great.
Oh, being that son of a...
You didn't let me finish. I said on their model at the end.
Right, sorry, just 1 second, Anthony. Steve, can you shut up?
Did you just call me Steve?
Yeah, I did, yeah. That was part of the joke, Pap.
This is one of those moments that Arwen's going to be sat there in a confused mess in the he's like, what the fuck are these talking about?
I think I get it now.
Okay, so how do you know Ruhif is Samhain?
How do I know? Like I say, sometimes it's not what you say, sometimes it's what you don't say. And he's tacitly admitted it to me by not answering the question I asked him.
What question did you ask him?
He's Ruhif.
So, guesswork, leaps of logic.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes it's not what you say, sometimes it's what you don't say.
What did you ask him?
You know, like, if I'd say to you, what day of the week is it? And you'll say, today's day is what? Wednesday? Is that what day it is today? Yeah, no, it's Thursday. So if I say, what day of the week is it? And you say Thursday, right? But if your answer is, well, it's not Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, or Friday, or Saturday, then you're left with just that other one, aren't you? So that's the answer.
Did you ask him, are you Sam Hine?
Yeah.
And what was his response?
His answer wasn't yes or no. His answer was, what are you talking about? And I said, are you Sam Hine? And his answer was, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, maybe he had a problem with hindsight.
Actually, him. He's just refusing to answer the direct question, which is tactical. It's a tacit admission to me.
Did you have him on camera as you were asking?
Alternatively, he might have not known what you were talking about. Just guessing, throwing it out there.
No? Did you say no or yes?
No, Arwin.
Okay, Nathan. Well then it's very tough to tell just from voice whether he actually.
I think anytime these guys are asked a question by a flat earther, their response is tactical.
Of course.
Whether they want it to be or not.
You can ask the flat earther.
They at least try to be tactical, because it's like they can't even speak to people like human beings anymore.
Right. But I do know that I don't know if Ruhif is actually Sam Hain, but I do know that Ruhif is involved in kind of like sponsorships of ballers and stuff.
Ranty, so I was talking to Sandra, P900 Cool Pics, right? And she said, did you see Ranty's video or Ranty's something? I said, I haven't watched anything from Ranty for ages. And I said, what's the issue? And she said he went to do repeat the observation that I did. When I say me, I mean Sandra. She said he went to repeat the observation that I did of Isle of Man from somewhere. And I said, I said, what camera did he use? And she went P1000. And I said, was it infrared? And she said, no. And I said, he's not going to see the Isle of Man from there, is he? And she said, exactly. So basically, whatever Ranty was pushing on, he was trying to repeat an observation without an infrared camera that was used with an infrared camera in the first place. Now, I know for a fact that if she's pushing it with the infrared camera, I know that if you ain't got that infrared camera, you ain't going to see it. And that's what happened, apparently. Ranty went to try and view it, couldn't do it, and then, I don't know, claimed ball anyway. But my point is that when I found out what he was trying to do and I realized he wasn't going to be able to do it, it became really obvious that, and it was all funded by Ruhif, apparently. Ruhif's paid him to either hire or to buy at a dumpy level and to go and do this observation. And I'm like, oh, really? Very interesting.
What intrigues me if he is Sam Hain, right? I believe I was back and forthing with Ruhif at one stage via email, and I don't hold back in terms of what I say to people on email. I'll speak to them exactly the same on email as I will in person or on a show, and I was being quite vicious to Ruhif at the time. It just makes me laugh. You're giving me all his money if it is him, and yet what I'm doing in response is just being me, pointing out my points.
Ask yourself this: have you had any contributions from Sam Hain since Ranty left?
No, he disappeared round about the time that there was some discrepancy in terms of Ranty held a fundraiser, and it was for.
Oh, the Roxanne issue.
Roxanne,
right?
yeah. There was a Roxanne fundraiser, and Ranty said words to the effect of, anything I raise here, I'll give to Roxanne. And then he received a sizable amount of money from Sam Hain and decided that didn't get included in the amount, because what he meant was anybody who specifically says it's for her in the super chat will be given to her. And anything that's not specifically mentioning her name will be mine. Although he didn't clarify that. He said, I'll give everything that comes to the super chat to you. But then he didn't. So then Anthony took umbrage with that, tried to find out who Sam Hain was, and at that point, Sam Hain disappeared.
But don't you think it's interesting that he never at any point presented any...
Listen up.
Wait a minute.
Listen up.
Hang on a minute. Fuck, I'm talking.
Listen up.
Fucking wait a minute. Don't you think it's
Shut
interesting
up!
that
Sam Hain is not Ruhif. Okay? Numpties. Thanks.
You know him personally?
Yes.
Really?
Love
So,
Adam.
can you move on?
Love Adam. What's that all about? Why did you sign it off Love Adam?
I always put love on stuff.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of the time, yeah.
Oh yeah, there was a whole weird back and forth email situation back then as well. It was weird.
Would you find it a bit weird?
Love, then I'll write that, yeah. So look, this is So at this point, I'm confused as to what's going off because there's this contradiction between Ranty and Watson. So I just sent this message to Sam. And that's what I got back. So you make of it what you want, because it was then denied and proposed that this was a fake email by Riley, even though I sent it to Sam Hine, having acquired the email address from his donations to Arwin. I went to Arwin to get the email address that I was hopefully emailing the correct person from an independent source. I just said, I wonder if you could put in unequivocal terms who the super chats were intended for on Ranty's show on the 3rd of March 2020. I'm sorry to have to ask this, but your kind gesture is creating a situation that clarity will hopefully put an end to. Please state who the super chats were intended for, either Ranty or Roxanne. Love, Adam. Like I said, he came back with, hi Adam, the super chats were for Roxanne. I want nothing to do with Ranty if he's stealing money from people.
Fair enough. How do you know that it wasn't name now? Ruhif QE. How do you know it's not him?
Ruhif, it would make the strange contradictory emails I got to what Ranty presented, it would make a lot more sense if it was somebody shit stirring in the back. Because like I said, this doesn't match up with what he supplied Ranty with, that he supplied me with this, which is, to me, read as an intent to cause people to kick off. So it would make sense if it was Ruhif in the background, because the way Sam Hine had presented himself up until that point was as a genuine person that was supporting people in flat Earth. So hence why that was confusing, but I don't know either way.
But QE was pretty adamant it's not Ruhif.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with that either. I couldn't argue with either because I don't know. It's not clear. So I say, just to me, the only odd thing is things like that email and what went down during that time. It was all a bit weird.
Yeah, but that doesn't discount him as Ruhif or validate him as Ruhif. So in the same way I grilled Anthony about him being Ruhif, and he was like, well, it's because of what he hasn't said. And when I found out what he hasn't said, what he actually did say was, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, okay, I like to take people as at their word. If Ruhif says, I don't know what you're talking about, I take that to mean I don't know what you're talking about. Not, I am actually Sam Hine, but I'd rather not say, which is what Anthony's taken it to mean. Well, okay, fine, that's fair enough, I suppose. But I also want to know why QE's adamant it isn't Ruhif. But he's gone very quiet.
Eating breakfast.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
The other thing with that is that if Anthony's asking him like blatantly, knowing Ruhif, he's likely to give a silly answer to, even though if he isn't, to allude that he is.
Right.
Kind of like a bluff. So
I was going there too. Great minds and all that, and Adam. That's exactly where I was going to go. Ruhif's not dumb. And if you're being asked that sort of question, instinctually, you're not going to say, I don't necessarily want to deny this, do I? Doesn't mean he is Sam Hine. Just means when he's been posed the question, he's gone, do I want to deny this? Maybe not. Let's decide whether or not I want to deny it before I give anything firm. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, that's a good enough answer to say, well, no, what I meant by I don't know what you're talking about was I don't know why he'd be asking me that question. He could easily weasel that as an answer and justification for not just answering it outright there and then. But it would be call for Anthony to raise his eyebrows, and so that's worked a charm. It's like, well, yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm not that well acquainted with Ruhif, but I know him well enough to know he's not completely idiotic, and that wouldn't be beyond somebody of his intelligence.
I think
I am. I am
Anything
Ruhif's a
with
sack
each other's
sniffing cretin. I
chains.
spoke to Sandheim on many of occasions. Do you think that he was giving me super chats to try to convert me to Globe Earth? Really?
Maybe. That's what was postulated.
Well, not at first. That's the whole issue. It's a lead-in, and then you get used to the feed, and then they put the shackles on you. It's a technique. So they never start. No, but it's serious. They never start out trying to get to the globe, get to the globe. No, they just give you some. You get used to it.
You need to find yourselves a girl.
Well, it might work on girls too, but I don't know.
You haven't still justified why you other than the same rebuttals I gave Anthony, which is, so you're saying he was giving me money and being encouraging because he wanted me to convert when he gave no suggestion or hint of that. And Anthony's answer was yes. You're saying the same, but you were adamant that he isn't. Now, I don't know that it's not the genius mastermind that is Ruhif, but you're adamant that stop.
Genius mastermind.
Just, if you can justify why you were adamant, because Anthony dropped as a result of you being so adamant about it.
Oh, poor baby.
That's not why I'm asking you. I'm just saying, why are you so adamant?
Well, you'd figure I'd be so adamant because I spoke with him on many of occasions, by the way.
Verbally?
In detail.
Verbally?
About various subjects.
Verbally?
Yes.
You spoke verbally with him?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I need to hear.
Did he sound like Ruhif?
It's not Ruhif, man.
Where is he from? Is he like English, American?
Don't ask any questions. That's none of your
Mainland?
business.
No, I don't
don't ask. None of your business.
Yeah.
Okay.
We still haven't figured out why the pencil doesn't stick to the wall and why the bumblebee flies.
So actually, as it brings us back on track, it's just, as much as the bumblebee has got a good buzz around it. Same goes for Russian vids, right? Same goes for Russian vids. That's what I'm saying with Sam. No, you don't. You're not privy to that information. He hasn't given it to you, so you don't deserve it. Now, likewise, I actually haven't been given the information I've been privy to in terms of Russian vids. He didn't give it to me. I came across it. Might be incorrect for all I know. I don't think it is, but that's not the point. The point is that just because you're privy to something doesn't mean you can give it out to anybody. Thanks for putting his email up, by the way, Adam.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. Boxing himself as well, I suppose. I think that's been out there a while.
I know it's been out there. It's been part of a court case. It's definitely public information. That's why I didn't stop you. I was just joking, but...
So I've been monitoring chat, and it seems like the attacks on the sextant is 10th man, you don't own a sextant even, or you should start by reading a sextant manual. This is like the top 2 attacks now, rather than answering the questions about zenith distance and elevation and horizontal and GP and baseline and triangulation and how to. So this is the best they got. This is really killing them.
Neil's like, come on camera, looking like a boxer.
Yo, Adrian!
Neil.
What do you reckon will happen between Russian vids and DITRH then? Now we're not live, and this will take a few days to come out, and it'll all be resolved by the time this cuts to be heard.
Well, if it's Russian vids and DITRH,
I'm coming for Tommy.
he does have uncanny timing, doesn't he?
It's just the season of infighting is starting once again.
But that question, Nathan, is between Russian vids and DITRH, by you asking that question, you're putting people on the spot.
I don't get it.
Vladimir Putin.
What does he have to do with it?
Russian bitch.
Is he even Russian? It's just name. It's just a tag you put on.
That's the best part of puns.
Okay.
I'm F Russian.
We've got to do another projector appeal to break up the
I'm
silence
more
or what?
Russian vids.
So what do you think is going to happen? So, I'll start the ball rolling as you're all useless. I think DITRH will just address the points one by one for the most part. There might be a few he just leaves out from time restraints, but I think he'll just go through the chunk of the responses and just justify it. For example, when it comes to the swirly spiral logo, maybe he's just learned how to make a good logo, and he'll explain, here's how I learned how to make a good logo, here's how I put that into effect, and here is my logo. I think that's what he'll do. What do you think?
Sounds like there's more detail than what I heard. So we'll see.
What?
Is there a beef with his logo now as well? Bills.
Yes. So he's got 666 in the original rabbit with the anonymous mask looking in a mirror with deep inside the rabbit hole in cursive script. Well, that logo, according to Richie from Boston, which was on that same broadcast on Russian Vid's channel, RV Truth channel, subscribe today, he shows that there's 666 in the spirals of the words. Now, according to DITRH, that was sent in by a fan. But there we go, there's 666 in the spirals of the words. He's also got on his latest logo, the DITRH, like thumbnail that you get on YouTube and in G+. Well, that is a circle with a spiral that works its way towards a flat Earth map at the centre with DITRH over the top. It's a very, very cool logo.
So the point?
Just pulled it up for you. Mm-hmm.
There you go. So it's actually incorporated his Flat Earth Sun and Moon and Zodiac Clock app into his DITRH logo. So you can see the Roman numerals spiraling towards the flat Earth. He's also got what looks like around the flat Earth the holes that you get on an old reel for a film. That's what it looks like to me. I'm just going to get a bit closer. Leave it up a second.
It's a bit low res. It's just off the YouTube channel, but there's some. Doesn't that say Beelzebub is my master in Hebrew?
No.
Did you just do that on the fly?
Did we produce this logo on the fly? No. This is what's caused a problem. So the spiral represents the serpent. It also represents the 6. It's in the shape of a 6. So that's a Masonic symbol. It also represents hypnosis. So if you look at like the ABC logo that you Americans get, every time you have an ad break and the show restarts, ABC will come up in the bottom left-hand corner in what are called the Ashtons at the bottom. And it'll be a spinny logo that spins into your view. And that's done for the effect of hypnosis, literally putting you in a small trance. Well, the symbology of that process of hypnosis is depictorially represented with a spiral. So what is being postulated by Russian Vids is that this spiral within the DITRH logo is a utilization of a Masonic symbology that represents hypnosis, it represents Satanism, it represents the serpent, and this is the people we're dealing with. So that is his argument.
Wow.
Knowing
That's
who David
ridiculous.
hangs about with and the theories and that he's open to, I would suggest that that's a toroidal field as I look at that. Do you know what I mean? You could just as easily interpret it as that. And that, for me, that's how I'd look at that. That looks like he's stuck a toroidal field on top of his flat Earth logo with a clock in the background. It's
Yeah, the hypnosis spiral has to be moving. This is not moving. Also, the spiral is not a 6 because a 6 has to connect to the inner circle on the left side. It doesn't. So all
sorry,
of that is
no,
complete hogwash.
no. You're reverse engineering the interpretation. No, that's not what's happening. He's explaining what the symbology means. That's what it means. It's representative of. That's what the symbol means. And he's saying this is that symbol. So it's not that I'm not going to disagree. All right, don't fuck with Russian vids in terms of symbology, Arvin. You'll lose, right? He knows his stuff, right? And I'm not going to. I'm not arguing that he's right. I'm just saying in terms of his understanding of symbology, he's correct, right? That is correct. Now, that doesn't mean to say that A, DITRH didn't just like the design, or B, he knew it meant and represented hypnosis and thought, fuck me, I'll use that. That's what I'd do if I knew that. I've got to be honest, that's what I'd do. Now, I haven't, and I look at it and go, that's cool. But I look at things in a very different way to Russian vids. And again, I'm not decrying his way of looking at it, and I'm not decrying his taking it personally and even calling out DITRH for it. More power to him. I don't think will cause a massive rift or some infighting scandal that will last the rest of 2021. I don't think any of that's going to happen. Yeah? Russian vids is doing his thing. This is something that potentially needs addressing, and I think Dave will. He'll just tell us how he came to this logo. That's all he'll do. And I'm sure there's like anybody who comes to a cool logo, there'll be a story of his mentality when he came to it.
It's kind of cooler if it's hypnosis in a way, isn't it? Because it's kind of the truth. That's what we're being hypnotized. So
yeah,
I kind of like it. Yeah.
Exactly. If it was, if what would be my ambition, and I'm saying this in the after show, I was going to say it in the live show, but I want it to be, documented so that when DITRH says it, I haven't potentially had any influence on it. But his justification, if it was idealistic, in my view, would be that he said, yeah, I knew that the spiral represented hypnosis. And that is exactly why I put it in there. That's part of what I'm dealing with and part of what I'm trying to educate people in. The hypnosis of the heliocentric world. So, yeah, I am trying to represent it as the symbology is suggestive of. And I found it out from this resource materials. Here's where I found it, and here's how I utilised it. Here's how I incorporated it. Here's my artwork. And it does absolutely represent that. Now, if he just says, oh, I thought it looked cool, that's a bit less, dramatic and exciting. But I would hope that, Dave is not stupid if he's researched this stuff as you would expect him to, in the same way Russian vids has, therefore he knows about it. Well, maybe DITRH does too, and he's put that into his logo for the reasons that you're highlighting it in terms of our hypnosis. That's what it means. That's what DITRH's using it for. If so, I'd be like, tip of the hat to DITRH. Very cool, DITRH. I didn't know that about this symbology until you explained it to me, having asked why your logo looks the way it does. But isn't it cool to now know that that's representative of the hypnosis we experience? Wow, cool logo. Didn't know there was so much meaning behind it. Now, DITRH has, potentially not got that as an explanation. But if he has, cool. And if he hasn't, and RV's just looking too much into it, he'll have that as an explanation from DITRH, as far as I'm concerned. DITRH's a reasonable guy. And just like the very stern and annoyed-looking high-impact flicks guy who just went on Russian Vids' show and just sort of addressed the points that had been raised by Richie from Boston and RV Truth, that's what he did. What's going on? Neil's logo.
Doesn't the spiral also represent life to some people? Like, I've heard that before. It's not just hypnotism, but like the cycle of life. I've heard that before with spirals.
Yes, it's got lots of different meanings.
It could be anything, right?
Yeah.
Or it could have just been like, oh, that's cool. It doesn't. I don't know.
How about the Fibonacci?
That's why I think it's nonsense to do that. Like, serious.
You don't watch Russian vids, do you?
I think it's completely pointless.
Is he going at him because of it, or is he like saying that's what that means, and he's lying because he's not saying that that's what that means, or
he's just calling him out for having symbolism that is, in many instances, most Masonic by origin and use. So he's saying this is a Masonic symbol, this is how it's used by Masons, and here are examples of DITRH standing backwards on a ladder as depicted in Masonic, what do they call those cards that they have? I've forgotten what they call them.
The tarot cards.
No, the cards. They're like, no. They're like layouts of pictures, but they've got a particular name. It doesn't matter. The title's not irrelevant. It's not relevant to the point. He's got a picture of DITRH standing on the bottom step of a set of ladders backwards, holding a Corona, clinking it with I don't know who. And he's saying, look, this is very Masonic. His logo's Masonic. This is Masonic. That's Masonic. So that's what's happening.
But this is what I wanted to add.
I
did
got
Neil's
33 in my
logo. And if you look at it, I put what I thought was in a bit of mafia, make him look mafia, stick what's important to Neil in his firmament, and but look, oops, I've got a hidden hand, and I didn't know that somebody might come along and go, no, that's saying that look, Neil's a Mason. He's got in the logo clearly that's intended to highlight that.
That's cool, man. You made that, Adam?
Yeah.
They better not be talking about my boss.
No, but do you get me? You can
Mason. He's in construction, though.
You can take an image, and the artist can put it together, and somebody else can read something else into it after the fact that's got nothing to do with the conceptualization that you've put into it. But if you stand alone, yeah, that's a symbol for a spiral, or look, that's a hidden hand. You can make that point, but it doesn't mean that it originates from either the artist or the person's.
Hang on. That button by his hand that's hidden looks like a globe.
Let's have a look. Yeah.
Or the artist was trying to be realistic, because when you cross your arms, one of your hands are hidden. That's just what
It
happens.
looks like the sun is in front of his face, not behind it.
What? Pinky ring.
So yeah, hope it gets resolved. But like with Steve on the pre-show, when you're exercising your understandings, limited though they may be, and your beliefs in this instance about trees or Masonic symbology, and you express that to whoever, you've got to be able to back it with some standard of evidence. And once done, you've got to be prepared for someone to come along and justify it in first-person terms. And the only person that can do that in this example is DITRH. And he's just got to suck it up. I watched, I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with this shooting by Alec Baldwin. It's managed to make its way into the act realm as well through reasons of sync, which I won't go into any detail on, but nevertheless, this has popped its head up in a few different corners of our bit of the internet. And I recently saw Alec Baldwin getting hounded basically by the paparazzi and pulling over and doing his little interview with them just to get him off his back. Just to say, look, I can't tell you anything. He first asked them, what do you want to ask? And they were like, they started asking him questions that police have told him don't answer. So he told them, I can't answer any questions. But essentially tried to be accommodating enough to get them to ask what they wanted to ask so he could tell them to sod off. Right? Now, if that's how Dave takes this, I think that's the same thing. He's essentially got a paparazzi, which is, in this case, RV Truth, tailgating him, flashing the lights and bibbing the horn. Well, unfortunately, when that happens, you've either got to, speed up, completely ignore the person like they're not there, or pull over and deal with it. And I think, judging by the fact that Journalism's about to have a Baby Truther show with RV's name in the title, he's pulled over and he's going to square up and say, look, what the fuck? Here's my explanation for all of this stuff. I don't, think your justified reasoning is actually sound based on my explanation. Hopefully, at the end, there'll be no grudges held.
Huh. Well, he had some things to say about Jeranism as well, so yeah. But yeah, that's actually a good analogy. I totally agree with that analogy, Nathan. Absolutely. Yeah.
Alec Baldwin, he was telling him, listen, she was my friend. We went out to dinner the other night.
He said, I can't answer questions. And then he started answering questions. Like,
Yeah, his wife went to say something. His wife
he's like, back up.
Yeah, he pushed his wife. No, I'm going to answer.
No, that was just, that's a professional thing. So his wife was essentially upstaging him He's presumably in the car before they pulled over, right? He's had the conversation with them. Look, we've just got to deal with this. In other words, he's manning up, right? He's being alpha male and saying, I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to take ownership of this problem and deal with it. I will deal with it thusly, right? So they've had the conversation beforehand, but then he switches into performance mode, doesn't he? So he's essentially taking his mark. He's ready to do his bit.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. And then she gets in front of him.
Nah.
Yeah.
The guy's distraught. He didn't mean to kill the freaking lady. Come on.
You don't know that.
Oh, I do know that.
No, you don't. You're not. No, you don't. You know what the media has shown you.
He said it was a well-oiled machine. Bro, you ain't supposed to have live ammo anywhere near that setup anywhere. Like that's a
cards. It's Alec Baldwin. Come on.
Oh, God. Hold on. Stop.
Well-oiled.
Hold on. Right. Do you guys... Hold on. Triggered, guys. Triggered. Everyone's triggered. You realise...
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're just going to keep saying while I'm trying to get control of the... Yeah, thank you, Neil.
You going to yell at me like you yelled at Steve?
Eventually. So, all the world's a stage, Neil. And we have been presented this by social media and media. So, what we're being presented with is a narrative by some actors. Now, these are the facts of the matter. Further to this, the facts that are presented by the actors presenting us the so-called, in quotes, facts, you know nothing of these facts. Zero. You only have the information that has been presented in a nice pre-packaged narrative given to cameras, edited and presented by a media that has lied to you repeatedly throughout your lifetime. But you are now willing to accept these quote-unquote facts that have been presented to you by this actor? No, Neil, no. You don't know anything about who's died, if anyone's died at all. You don't know anything.
Like you did before. Like you did with the prescription. My cousin, okay? His friends with
Did you
Alec
see the
Baldwin.
coroner report?
He told me the whole
Did you
school.
see the coroner report, Neil?
Yeah, that's where I was going next,
Okay,
Darwin.
so then if my cousin's lying to me, then fine. But I'm telling what my cousin's telling me. You want to get a movie by him? It's called Americano. It's called Pounds. You can see a few movies. He's been trying to break into Hollywood forever. And he
Did he see a coroner report, Neil?
Let me get it straight. Hold on. Let me get it straight. You can't see any parallel between, say, for the sake of argument, a man of space? Oh, Jesus. Arwin, can you just go on server deafen for a few minutes? Just drop off to me. Or just... So, thank you, Arwin. Yeah, just give me my moment. You are not seeing the parallel between, say, William Shatner, a man, an actor of space, going to space in a pre-packaged, claimed to be news-reported piece of media footage, and this man, gunslinger, man of action, having a on-screen narrative about his action with guns. You don't see any parallel here. One is obviously fake in every regard. That would be Will Shatner going to space, second law of thermodynamics violation. Pre-packaged media presentation with rocket ships and travel to sky vacuums. And we know instinctively that every single aspect of it is fake because we know that space is fake and can debunk the whole thing. Therefore, you can see that as an entirely lie, fictitious, pre-packaged narrative. But you don't see the parallel with this and Alec Baldwin. You just see this as just being truthful and real and not a show made for you or anything like that, right?
Okay, you hearing me? So just disregard all the information my cousin has given me, who happens to know him and spoke to him. Throw it out? Then I'll throw it out. He's not going to lie to me.
So your cousin can't be lied to, Neil?
Hold on, we got terrible audio suddenly from two people. Is that me? Adam, can you say something?
Okay, my cousin could be lied to me if he's being lied to, yes. And I'll acknowledge. If he's being lied to, yeah, then it's a lie. I'm just telling you what I heard on the inside.
Okay, we'd have to question his narrative rather than your hearsay version of his narrative. We'd have to find out what he heard, who he heard it from, whether it was spoken to him or emailed, or whether he just got it from news, whether he's bullshitting. I'm not suggesting he is, but all of those things can't come from you because you're not that primary source. So it's just your hearsay in that regard. But I'm not going to decry if you've said it is. I'm not saying it isn't true either, Neil. And fair enough, if you have got something that seems more primary source, you know, I could decry that and say, well, to be fair, my wife's tennis partner's, cleaner's, sister's, brother-in-law's ex.
No, come on.
What? True. My wife's tennis partner's, cleaner's.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm giving you direct. I said my cousin, not my cousin's friend's wife's uncle knows him. My cousin knows him.
Okay. And he was on set and saw the body and was upset and has been in touch with the family.
No,
and
that's
all
what
that.
I said. If he's lying to my cousin, then yeah, I said that.
Who's
I
lying?
acknowledge that. He could be lying. Cousin.
Who?
Alec Baldwin.
The actor who's currently involved in putting out this information to people in general, including your cousin.
Yeah, correct. He could be lying to him.
No, or an
I'm not
actor,
saying-
or an actor, or an actor.
My cousin was-
Or Alec Baldwin could be an actor. Could he not? Oh, my bad. He absolutely, without question, is.
Turns out he is one.
Man is distraught. That the man is distraught. Devastated.
Yeah. Sorry. Did this word not slip by? It's starting to stutter my way through this. I'll try it slower. Actor.
No, he didn't distraught. He said the man is distraught. You want to look it up? That'll be like Harp now. Do you know what it means?
Yeah. Do you know what it means to act? Distraught?
What about the water?
Sorry, you're going to start telling me that we need to look into chemistry or something. You're still not addressing what I'm saying. The man is a professional actor, but you're just walking past that going, no, he was distraught. Okay, how do I break this down? Yeah, Rambo looked really passionate about getting the bad guys. Like, really passionate, didn't he?
Well, he was.
Yeah, but that was a performance, wasn't it? You can distinguish the difference between that. But you're saying, but because he knows him, then he was distraught because he was in the presence of him. So what if it was... So in order for the suspension of disbelief to be wiped away, all they need to do is rub out the stage. And it worked on you, Neil. So if there's no stage underneath him, yeah, it's suddenly not an act anymore from this actor who's paid to act and appear on camera and come up with stories like Shatner did.
Lying to him. Let me tell you what I heard from my cousin.
Sorry, I'll say it one more time because it's just not sinking in. Actor. Acting. Not getting it, are you? No, well, he knows him, but he spoke to him, but he in person saw him saying he was distraught. Yeah.
Are you hearing what I'm saying?
Yeah, I am. You're not hearing what I'm saying.
He could be lying to him. I don't know.
No.
Or he could be
Yeah, he
acting
keeps...
that he's
Oh,
telling the
God,
truth.
this is like pulling teeth. Acting? But he could be lying. No, fuck's sake.
just
How many
said
times?
that.
Sixth time? No, not lying. Acting.
I just said that.
No, you didn't. You said
You did not
lying.
hear me. I must be breaking up.
Well, lying. You said
I said he
lying.
could be acting like he's lying. He could be acting while lying, but acting like he's telling the fucking truth. Do you understand that?
No, it's just acting. You pay actors to do that, right?
Whatever. Then he's pulling
Shh, calm down.
over my
Calm down.
cousin's
Neil.
eyes.
Just calm down a sec. Do you remember me explaining about the trick in The Prestige with the old guy carrying the very heavy bowl? Remember that?
Yes, but you're
Right.
forgetting.
Right.
My cousin Vinny, no one pulls the wool over the eyes of a Gambini. No one pulls the wool over the eyes of a Famiglietti.
Okay. So in that example, Neil, right, after the show has ended and the stage door opens, the old man hobbles out of the stage to his car assisted by two men because he's so old and frail. And the magician says to the other magician, this is the real performance. This is the real act. Did that not... Didn't sink home then. It's not going to sink home now. These
Just wanna
people
test
appearing
if
on
you
our
can hear me
screens that
okay.
you're taking as... At the moment, right, one of the things I noticed when I occasionally get exposed to media, so if I go to my sisters and they've got the TV on and things like that, obviously I'm mildly intrigued because I don't expose myself to it. It's not on in my house. So when I see it, it's kind of fresh and new and exciting when I see things like TV. But I pay attention to what's being put out there, i.e. I'm hypercritical of it. And one of the things that I've noticed is there's a prevalence of telling people in movies and films about what character actors are. Now, 10 years ago, maybe even a bit longer, 15 years ago, if I said the word character actor to anybody, they wouldn't have the slightest idea what I was talking about. It would be a performing arts term that a lovey would understand instantly what I meant. Another performer would understand what I meant. But most people in the general public wouldn't understand what that meant. But now, people understand what character actors are. Why? Well, because they're frequently being told what a character actor is. What's a character actor? Oh, well, it's somebody who gets into the role and they become the role all the time. They stay in character. They live and breathe that character. They become that person all of their working life, at home. So if somebody's a character actor playing Richard III, they're at home as Richard III. Now that's a character actor. Now, you don't need to know that. I don't need to know that. It's a technique used by actors to get a better performance. But suddenly everybody's aware of this. How certain actors are those types of character actors where they're always role-playing their role all day, every day. Now, why are we being told this? So that at some conscious level, we understand implicitly that some people are always playing a role. They're always acting. Like Shatner. Right? He's always that character, that spaceman character. So when you see him going up on his little rocket in his little story that they make for you on the TV, you can understand at some subliminal or subconscious level that that is an actor. Because they've told you he's an actor. Right? They just don't implicitly tell you that he's acting right now. Now, you know there's a character actor. You've been told it's part of the news. People are aware of what this thing is. That people, actors, are paid and they act like that character all day long, all day, every day. Yeah? People understand that. But they don't put two and two together. So there's actors that are paid and there's a type of actor that becomes a character permanently. Yeah? Whatever character that may be. Yeah? And that person, when they're speaking to camera, for the moment they're on camera, though, they're not the character anymore. Now, because they're talking to me, they're not Richard III. Even though they're rattling out iambic pentameter to you, they're just talking normally. It's not iambic pentameter, it's actually the way they speak, because he's talking to me right this second. No. We've got actors. We're told they're actors, and there they are acting. Here's Bill Shatner doing his normal acting job. You just haven't been told in this case that it's acting. Now, by coincidence, when Star Trek comes on, they don't tell you that's acting either, do they? There's no fucking disclaimer. By the way, Star Trek isn't real. Doesn't say that at the beginning. Likewise, it doesn't say it on the news when the same exact thing happens with Shatner. Comes on and pretends to go to space. Now, we can all see that that's the case with Shatner, but when it's somebody else, it's like, oh, no, he wasn't acting. He spoke to my cousin. Oh, yeah? So? Well, he's still an actor. That's what he's paid to do. He's an actor. Yeah, but he's not when he's talking to my cousin. Isn't he? Why would I suddenly believe that he's not an actor that's paid to act?
I'm saying my actor to he would.
Go, Neil, go. No, I've lost you, Neil.
I think Neil is just saying he trusts his cousin, but he could very well be lying to his cousin. He doesn't know, but that's what his cousin says.
Lying's just the wrong word. Lying's the wrong word. It's not a lie when your cousin tells you you're on a sphere. Yeah? That's not a lie. No intent to deceive you when your cousin tells you you're on a spinning water monkey ball flying through a sky vacuum. That's not him lying, is it?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, he just might just trust his cousin. Doesn't mean his cousin is lying. His cousin just might believe somebody else telling him it's a ball in that analogy. And he's just passing it along. You know?
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Yeah,
Now, what I was saying to Mr. Oakley was that my cousin is an actor, so I think he would know if somebody's acting in front of him.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Okay, Neil. Neil, what
You
I mean
think
when I
that
say
actors are
having
perfect in
a
detecting
motivation.
when somebody else is acting?
Hold on, Nick, Arwin. When I say acting, right, let's try and dilute it a little bit to make it make a bit more sense. I don't mean that in this example, and I'm not pro or con in this example. I'm just putting the opposite of what Neil's claiming, right? When I say he's acting, that isn't to say that he's been given a pre-prepared script that's typed out.
No shit.
Right. It just means that he's got a specific agenda. Now, his agenda, in this respect, when he takes his mark and delivers his lines to camera, quite literally what he did in this piece we're discussing, right? That was a performance. Now, performances can be given by anybody. They don't have to be given by actors. Just anybody who's got a motivation and an agenda to fulfill. And therefore, they actually do, in the most literal terms, run a script. Salespeople run scripts. People who are trying to counsel others run scripts. Yeah, so this is him running through his script. But when you need somebody to be good at delivering a line, for whatever motive is the overriding motive for this man at this time. Now, that might be that it's absolutely 100% accurate in terms of what's been documented and reported on this film set with actors. Now, that might be the case, but like with Blair Witch, when you're being told about 3 missing kids, often, yeah, I'm just going to shock you all, often the news can put out lies. Shocking, isn't it? And in this case, I don't know what is or isn't true. And when somebody claims, as is the case with your cousin, that they know it's true because they've had a personal interaction, at the moment, over the last couple of weeks, I've been trying to stress that just because it's come from a trustworthy source that you know personally, in some cases, are related by blood, doesn't mean that the narrative that they've had fed to them is true, and therefore that the narrative they're personally putting out into the nether of internet land for us all to consume is true either. And when that information happens to be picked up and disseminated to everybody in that particular social circle, for them to do the same amongst their social circles with the spin that was intended by whoever is controlling the whys and wherefores of how this information is disseminated. That just means we're part of the problem now. It lends credence to whatever narrative is put out there into this internet land of social media, and it means that when you receive that information, you will trust the source 1,000 times more than if it was a news reporter delivering this information. Much better to have the person involved personally, in this case an actor, deliver the information to you. That's much more effective. Yeah? Now, whoever figured this out probably 20 or 30 years ago, they figured out a much more efficient way of controlling people. Don't just tell them what's what. That works most of the time, 80% of the time. We want it to work 99% of the time. The way you have it is have the people that everyone trusts, that's those of them around them, disseminate the information to them rather than us disseminating it. Now, obviously, that means you've got to gear certain mechanisms to make the information manifest in those circles, but I wouldn't have said that's too difficult either, given that they know how to manipulate 80% of the masses by the former means, i.e. television and radio and the normal means of media. So, everyone's got this idea that just because they've got my cousin's former tennis partner's wife's ex-house cleaners, brothers...
You keep saying that. It's not that far. It's not that many people. It's one.
Doesn't matter.
And I'm saying, and I Nathan, I'm on the show with you. We know what we do here. I asked him, I said, Carmine, could it be that he's bullshitting you and acting right through you? He's like, well, he didn't know, he didn't outrule it. Let's put it that way.
Okay. But yeah, somebody having an agenda, and the agenda, whatever that may be, being put out to an audience by an actor, especially when that actor is purpose trained in that particular type of acting. To me, it's like, don't take anything as read. Now you're saying I've got a primary source piece of information that's spoken to the actor. Wow. So I've got, okay, let's not separate it so far. Hold on, Neil. Hold on. Let's not separate it so far. My wife went and saw Alec Baldwin on stage deliver his performance. You're saying, well, my cousin saw the performance delivered without a stage underneath him.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. I said, but he has been bullshitting you. He is an actor. He didn't outrule it. He didn't destroy it. But it could be. Hey, listen, we don't know. They are actors, right? I agree.
Can I do a mic check?
Any of that come through?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, we hear you. We heard Neil, yes.
What about Eric? Can you hear me okay?
Mic check is good.
So
Now,
yeah,
what's the
Neil,
motive,
I just want
though?
to say
Shouldn't
that
there be a motive?
because you're
For what?
Go ahead. I'm saying, what's the motive? What is this? Randomly shoots lady? I mean, you come out with some dirt, like they found out they were sleeping together and they had to eliminate her.
You don't see the significance. You don't see perhaps the
Massive
significance
attention.
of their question towards him when they said, would you ever work on a film set that used guns? And almost without missing a beat, his wife said no and he said yes. You don't see any of the significance in this in terms of gun control, gun laws.
I didn't see that part.
Didn't see that.
Massive attention, massive political opportunities.
No, Arwin, no, I'm afraid not. It's totally innocent. It's just this minor matter about an accidental thing that was one in a, what did he say? 1 in a trillion.
No, but they say it happens quite often because stuff does discharge.
No, it doesn't, Neil.
Hold on a second,
The
Arwin.
last time it happened was on the Crow film set.
No,
That's
you
freaking
see, you don't
nice.
know. You're wrong. People get hurt all the time by it because even though it's a blanket, discharges.
But they don't get killed by it.
Yeah, do you know, stop a second. Do you remember the other scene that was quite interesting in terms of a vendetta being settled between the two magicians in The Prestige? Can you remember what that was by any chance?
Yeah, that was the gunshot thing.
Oh, it was a fake gun that happened to shoot him, wasn't it? Oh, yeah.
You know you're quoting to me from a movie, Nathan.
No, this is a show talking about Russian vids, man. I've got to up my game in terms of what we're talking about here.
Right, you just realized
Well,
that
quoting from a movie.
All right, let the penny drop
just
for
because
Neil.
actors are in a film and acting doesn't mean that they can't actually perform crisis acts on the stage during their movie acting.
But that's absolutely. That's absolutely subliminally woven in. That's and 90% of the purpose of movies in general, Arwin. Yes, correct. Yeah, there's a reason the higher echelons of power control those particular aspects. Meanwhile, who's rumpusing me? Go on, whoever that was.
So it just couldn't have been an accident, right?
Oh my
Let's rule
God!
that
An
out right
actor
away.
accident.
Could have been.
You guys need to find yourselves a girl, mate.
You've used that line.
Are you projecting, John? You keep bringing
I'm
up this
telling you,
girl
boy.
need.
This is where.
Bro, where are the glow proofs, man? They're the glow proofs.
Yeah.
And you're partly responsible, so eat it.
Hold on,
We gotta
Chocolate.
talk about freaking Alec Baldwin shooting.
No. Yesterday with the dielectric acceleration.
No.
That's when people need girlfriends.
No.
Yesterday's topic.
Right, stop a second. I think everybody should pay more attention to the point that The Prestige has got specifically a scene in it where there's a fake gun that's being used for a magic trick. You know, the parallels are perfect in terms of, you know, something's going wrong, and the political implications Arwen's already highlighted. You know, I just want to stress that Neil's automatic assumption that something that's presented him by a media that's controlled and specifically designed to keep control of people is actually telling him the truth because there was a personal interaction with an actor. Now, I know he's already conceded this 10 times, so I don't need you shouting at me telling you, I already know, I've already said it. Yeah, I know. The audience is getting this stress to them, Neil, even though it's you by proxy.
I think he's left.
I know. I can actually see that screen permanently. It's the one that's going out to
Prestige
the
was
audience.
a good movie, though.
Prestige is a good movie.
That was a great movie. The Prestige.
I wanted to say something. I could.
Hopefully, it's not about actors shooting other people.
No, it's about. I just want to say, like, I appreciate this show because I listened to the High Impact Flicks and Russian Vids conversation, and although I agree with Russian Vids' breakdowns on stuff, High Impact Flicks was holding them to the standard that we hold people to here about backing your claims and stuff, and the types of evidence that we need to make an assertion. And Russian Vids is not holding up his side. He had nothing to back his claims. Like, yeah, someone can have 33 in their name or hold their hands in a specific way. That doesn't mean that they are a member of like a secret society. You have to have something else to back it. That type of evidence is circumstantial, I think that's what they call it. You can't, it's not a hard evidence, right? So we think that the ballers think that the sun is rising. It appears to rise, but it's not, right? So it helped me like understand and be more clear with things in life. And I just want to say thanks to you, Nathan, and all the people on the panel that have taught me how to see what things are true and what evidence is valid. Because without that, like, I could be like severely misled.
Fair enough. It's mostly
Right.
Arwen, to be fair.
What? No, but I totally agree with you. Though there's a word for it, though. It's called gossip. Nathan earlier had this perfect analogy with paparazzi. Yeah, that's what he does, and I don't respect it.
That's how we got onto Alec Baldwin, because I made the analogy that the paparazzi chasing Alec Baldwin to get an interview with him was comparable to David Weiss being chased down by RV.
Yesterday's argument was worse, Huey. What are you talking about? That's when people need girlfriends.
It's funny too because I'm really good with the numerology and the stuff that Russian Vids does. Like, I go flat Earth, and that's my other thing. And he uses it's called gematria. He's using it incorrectly, and he's not backing his claims correctly. There's a gematria calculator. There's a gematria calculator called satanic gematria.
Oh, your mic is circling the drain.
Your mic is
Eric.
dying, brother.
Your mic sucks.
Hold on, just get everyone to stop for a second. Your mic's terrible.
Is that better?
Yeah, you're better.
Say more than that. Just go say a sentence like radio check, 1, 2, 3.
Radio check, radio check.
1, 2, 3.
Sorry,
1, 2, 3.
You're about to
okay.
Coming through loud
bestow
and clear.
the virtues of gematria on us and how your versions...
so like
Go on.
So my things are flat Earth and gematria. So when I'm not doing flat Earth, I'm doing gematria. And Ben Russian Vids is using gematria incorrectly. Also, like, there's a calculator called satanic gematria, and if you want to throw it back on him,
1 second.
Satanic gematria is
before you go on, Eric. So what is gematria? It's one of those fancy cakes, right?
No, it's when you alphanumerically assign letters with numbers. So A is 1 and Z is 26, right? But there's different versions of it where, like, so in satanic gematria, A is 6 and B is 12. So if you make those numerical values like that, you keep going up in 6, and you type Ben and then Russian Vids, it equals 666 and satanic gematria. And you could say that to him right? And use that same
Yep.
baseless assertion that he's a Satanist. But
Yeah.
you got to
I've heard
back
that
him.
one
No,
years
no,
ago.
no, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure gematria is a fancy cake.
No, gematria is like advanced numerology, kind of overkill. I don't like it at all, really. But I've heard that one about Russian vids years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I don't trust the guy.
Go on, Eric. Go ahead. Maybe he's lost connection to us now.
I see what Eric's saying though. Like somebody could just flip it on Russian vids and do another type of gematria and come up with, oh, Russian vids means 666. So haha, you're a Masonic, crazy person. It's the same shit. He's
No, it's
saying
not.
he needs a little bit more evidence instead of just looking at the symbolism of his symbol, I guess. His
So
logo.
nobody made up a form of gematria specifically to go at him. That is a legitimate thing. There's
Everyone
just
loves it.
different ways of doing it, doing that game.
That's what I'm saying. Like he could use one way, and who's to say somebody can't flip it and use another way, or like the other form of gematria. I don't know anything about that, but like just whatever another version. Say ha.
And that other
Now
version
you.
has been out there for half a century. That other version is not just something recently made up. It's been out there for like half a century. So
I love how when he's using gematria to show how the NASA astronauts are Freemasons and how they embed subliminal symbology, that's a bit of a mouthful, into their documentation and publications. Everyone loves him for it. As soon as he shows the same thing in one of our own, suddenly he's the bad guy and people could be using gematria against him, and it's like, hold on, isn't he just doing what he does?
Yeah, it's just doing what he does.
That was Adam's point with my picture.
Yeah, he could look at exactly. At some stage, as I said in the live show, there's a chance I'll do something that will trigger Russian vids to saying, hang on a second, maybe we need to have a closer look at this shill Nathan Oakley. Especially the amount of e-begging I do. Smash the PayPal link, by the way.
What? He called you a shill?
No, I'm saying at some stage, if it happened because of something I said, or a position that I firmly took and then changed my position on and then just phrased it in a way that made it sound like I'd always taken that position, as is the case in this instance with the text message. A very abbreviated, very shorthand text message, I might add. But there we go. If that happened, I'd address it, and that would be it. I would expect no love lost between me and Russian vids if I gave him a justifiable explanation for any of his concerns. And if he had them, I'd be like, that's what he does, right? I wouldn't suddenly go, oh, I've got to take this super uber personally. Bastard. How dare he use gematria against me? I know Oakley 666, but it doesn't mean anything. I don't know if Oakley is
Nathan,
666.
Nathan, since you're e-begging, would you accept money in shillings?
Wait a second, Nathan. There's 6 letters in Nathan, and there's 6 letters in Oakley. Oh, shoot.
I think we abandoned shillings in the 60s. Was it the 70s? 60s, I think.
I know I'm going to hate myself for this, but let me say it anyway. What are you talking about with Russian bids?
Why did you have to clarify? I could have used that as an opportunity to e-beg again. Russian Vids has called out DITRH for having spirals in his logo and 666 in the text of Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole with a anonymous face mask on a mirror reflection of a rabbit.
And don't forget, he contradicted the Bible by claiming there might be more suns and moons and blah.
Yes, he did also criticise that. So DITRH has postulated that there might be worlds and land beyond what would be considered the land under the firmament with the sun and moon in the firmament. Now, from what I gather, you've got DITRH
Shocking coming from a flat earther.
Well, DITRH's claimed that it's a projection, the moon, at some stage, and now, in a shorthand text to Russian vids, DITRH has said, always say, I don't know what the moon is. And Russian Vids has gone, no, you've said it's a projection inside the dome, and that's the biblical position, and why are you now saying you just say you don't know what it is when you've clearly claimed the biblical position? Are you moving away from the biblical position? Actually, here's you standing backwards on a set of ladders, and here's all the Masonic symbology. So what gives, Dearth? That's what's going on.
Standing backwards on the left. I did that not too long ago, fixing my siding. It's the only way I could get to it. Does that count too?
You weren't doing it.
No, John!
He was doing it
Don't
whilst
do it!
he was doing it. Dearth was doing it whilst holding a Corona. I'm not even joking. It's not funny.
Did he have the sun?
Yes,
behind
really.
his head?
Arwin, do you not appreciate the gravity of this? Yes, he was actually toasting someone with a Corona while standing on the first rung of a set of step ladders backwards.
Okay, that is a little weird, but I think he probably did it on purpose as a joke. He likes to joke with that sort of thing. So
It'd be better. It'd be better, Nathan, if you did it, because then you can add the lime.
What?
Limey.
What?
I didn't hear it.
He called you a limey.
Look, these puns are dropping down in a ring
Oh,
or two.
the lime, the Corona.
It's getting fruity in here.
Yeah, that was
So that's the excitement. That's all we got left.
What do you want?
To you,
What do you want?
killed the globe.
That's news, man. What do you want?
Oh,
So we
you
got
also
Alec
banned me from
Baldwin, then we got Russian Vids and Dearth, I guess. I don't know.
What do you want?
That's all there's left right at this point.
Do you want to talk about aliens?
That's what Black Swan and a sexton will do.
How about Mitchell from Australia's stream from yesterday with the amazing new Black Swan footage? Or did you guys talk about that already on yesterday's FED?
2 days ago.
2 days, all right. I wasn't
Black
there.
Swan.
Really awesome footage, by the way.
Yeah. I've got to be honest. We only needed one. That's not to decry it. It's a great Black Swan, and it is fantastic. And technically speaking, it is quote unquote better. I don't know who I'm quoting. Someone said it was better. I think it might have been Mitch. Well, no, it isn't. You only need one Black Swan. And the amount of ponderance that went into which Black Swan would be the first Black Swan was extensive. I'm blowing smoke up QE's ass right now, just to let you know in advance. So, you
Black
could have...
Swan infighting? Oh, dear.
No. What I'm saying is, before I even wrap my head around the argument, right, long before I even wrap my head around the implications of bendy crane refraction, there was a ponderance that was taken on which image should be the Black Swan. And at that time, Bo had caught loads of different Black Swans at all different distances and at all different elevations. And the resolution, the quality of image, for some of them was far superior to the one that eventually got presented. So you might ask yourself, well, I did ask this question. Why didn't QE use one that was of a higher fidelity, a higher resolution, with a more clear image of the oil rigs and the horizon behind it in the same fashion? Why not use one that was a better quality? You know, that would have overcome the problem of them saying refraction. Now, did you hear how I said it was a problem? How naive was I when I postulated this to QE? You know, QE, this problem of them saying refraction, very irritating. Why don't you just use this one that's already available, right? In my naive idiocy, I thought that QE hadn't even considered it. Well, he had. He wanted them to say refraction. Why? Well, because the moment they do, it annihilates their own claim of geometry. So it was a very carefully considered image. Now, that's not to say that after the fact, and indeed before the fact, if you want to consider some of those images that may well have been taken before the actual Black Swan that we used, or QE used to be more accurate, right? There's lots of them. There's loads of Black Swans. But that Black Swan is very special. Yeah? Not because it's that day or because Bo was at, you know, whatever height. It's just that was the first. And you only need one. Therefore, that one, the first one, becomes that little bit more special than any other Black Swan. And obviously QE's not an idiot. He recognised the importance of how this argument would go down with 2020 hindsight. He didn't need it. He already had thought about it. So the ponderance that was given to that image makes the black swan, the one that we call the black swan, the most important and the most special. And there won't and can't be one that will surpass it. It doesn't matter if there was one that came out that was 200 miles, i.e. saw the oil rigs in a 200-mile horizon with something identifiable at 200 miles. It still wouldn't surpass the original black swan, as strange as that might sound, because you only need one. The moment you've made the argument, once you've postulated the modus tollens argument with the demonstrable evidence, that is the quote black swan image, once that's done, the damage is done. It's like putting the pickaxe in the dam. Oh, well, after we got the pickaxe in and got the crack and the water started to leak through, someone over there made a bigger crack. It's like, no. Once the fault was developed in the dam, that it was over from that point. And what it took was someone to pick up a pickaxe and ram it into the dam. The fact that someone looked at the person doing it and went, I can make a bigger hole. yeah, but you didn't actually get up and grab the pickaxe and ram it into the dam, did you? QE did, and he took a lot of thought over it. So you only need one black swan. The original is the best, and it's not coincidence that it was the best. There was a lot of thought and consideration that went into which one would be used, and it being bendy crane refraction, that's intentional.
Oh, so it was actually kind of a rooster, specifically to make the ballers go "Pakak."
To quote QE when I asked him if he could use a different image in future, his response to me, I think it's his verbatim, was, I want them to say refraction. That was his response to me. I want them to say refraction. I'm like, what? Now, obviously, by me saying what, you can tell that I didn't fully understand the argument when this conversation had. It was only a couple of weeks into 2020 when the argument first came out and the first load of rebuttals started to roll in. And we've heard nothing but that exact same rebuttal since. Refraction. And what's our response to that? Welcome to Flat Earth is our response to that refraction rebuttal.
And our winning
I'd like
paradox.
to thank my mom for having me, all my fans, my cousins, second cousins. Thank you very much.
It's a good story. You can't deny it. That's a good story.
That was a good analogy with the pickaxe, by the way.
Setting them up like that, you snake.
Yeah, well, with that analogy
there's a
in
load
mind,
of black swans out there. I've seen plenty of them.
Nat Geo's got one, National Geographic one. In terms of publicity and number of eyeballs on a black swan, Nat Geo wins, right?
Yeah.
Nah. The best is that a picture that he actually used in the presentation of the black swan was later then shown to us like, haha, we got this.
That was
when they show another black swan, you like that, don't you?
The other picture. They're like, oh, look, where's the horizon here? Yeah, we know that. it's still
also carefully
swan.
considered, I might add. I'm sorry to step all over you, but what Chocolate's talking about is there's another black swan. It is a black swan where the horizon is actually in front of the second oil platform, the one closest to you, the larger one. And the image is presented to us as though, look, here's the horizon being its Earth curvy self, blocking the bottom of these oil platforms. But that horizon is still beyond the geometric limitations of an Earth sphere radius 3959, ergo it's a black swan. But the point I was going to add, Chocolate, was that image that you're talking about was in the very first black swan presentation. In other words, 1st Jan 2020, that had already been correlated into the argument, because the argument was developed in 2019, and then 1st Jan 2020, it was presented for the first time. So that presentation included the image of the black swan with the here we go, someone put it up on screen, with the black swan with the horizon in front. There we go. Who's got this? Adam.
I'm putting them in there.
I've got it up. So this image was also in the presentation from day one. In other words, QE had dug this out, calculated where the geometric horizon would be, worked out that it's still beyond the limitations of an Earth sphere radius 3959, but just in front of the second platform. So when I say second, I mean from left to right. Anyway, so QE knew in advance that this would be something that they'd respond to, so he put it in the first presentation, right, QE?
The first presentation and every single Black Swan presentation after that, it shows up every single time.
Right. They still throw it up at you like it's some sort of rebuttal, and the response you get is, this is also a Black Swan. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, pull up the second photo, and then the third one. I put it in Ballbusters.
We're on the second one now. Balltards, guess what this is? It's another Black Swan. Shaking my fucking head. See this? How far away is the horizon? Here, Rhodes scholars. Yeah, it's beyond the geometric limitations of an Earth sphere radius 3959. There we go. So this is day one presentation, 1st Jan 2020, presented to the world. Everything had already been correlated and considered at length. And here's the presentation. These two photos are taken with the same camera and camera height, 4 days apart. Not only are A and B both black swans, Baltards, pay close attention. Your physical sphere edge horizon that blocks the buildings and boats has moved. Does your spinning... Does your spinning monkey ball inflate and deflate? Kablooey.
Space monkey ball.
Hey, Globies, which one of these is the curve of the Earth again?
They didn't present that and say, did they really say that?
Yes. Are you serious, Neil? Were you not paying attention? They would show us that picture and be like, "Look, this proves the other picture, the first black swan. It disproves it." And we're like, "What are you talking about?"
Dude, I got that argument last week.
What, someone presented that image to you?
Somebody presented that photo to me last week and say, "What's the deal, QE?" Last week.
So they're remaining stupid on top of it.
Yo, it's almost 2022,
Professor Phil Bellin, he's known, he loves that photo right there. He does that all the time.
That's right, Chocolate. It's been 22 months. 22 months, man.
And they still don't get the argument. So I was right. I said some will never get it.
So let me get this straight. QE posts the first picture, makes the modus tollens. QE posts the second picture, makes the modus tollens. They come and say, "See, the second picture proves you're wrong, QE."
No, I didn't make the modus tollens for the second one. I was just waiting in the wings for that one.
But you could.
No,
I mean,
I know.
the same principle. The argument applies equally to both. Yes, that's right.
Is that 1 foot observer height for both, isn't it? So
it says that on this slide. So yes.
Yeah. So that means so Tiddy Widdy has deflated on that day because it's gone down to 101,000 mile radius instead of the 260 in the picture on the left.
Oh.
It's like a guy who eats a lot. One day he's got a six-pack, and then he eats a lot, and he gets a little curvature to his belly. He takes a picture of both.
We only have one horizon, and the horizon in the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator is geometric. It's at a fixed location at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's where the geometric limitation to your view would be. And in both of these images, it's beyond that geometric limitation. Furthermore, as soon as they show this image, it's a claim that the Earth curve edge that's supposed to be a physical horizon, geometric in nature, claimed to be Earth curve, has moved. It says it on this slide.
This argument spawned the apparent horizon.
The apparent location where the sky meets the sea.
Yes, that one. Yeah.
Apparently,
like the second one, don't they?
We said there's 7 horizons.
Yeah, we've only got one.
That's the point of this second picture. They look. It looks like it could be the leading edge of their ball, and let them have it. Because if it does, say it means their R value is 25 times bigger than it was at the beginning of the day when they started with their assumptions.
Yeah, they can, but the actual conclusion is the horizon is an Earth curve.
That's probably a better conclusion.
Correct.
That's my point, Adam. When you eat a lot, your stomach's 25 times bigger than the start of the day.
Yeah, it's lunchtime.
They think we live on a dodgeball or something. Or a handball. Ridiculous.
So
It's
then I
almost
was right.
2022.
I said nobody's going to get the argument. They'll never get it. So I guess I was right.
Yeah, I said like 14
somebody-
months or something. I was blown out the water. I gave him some type of hope or something. I don't know. I figured maybe it would just click. I just don't understand why they would think that the horizon's a physical edge. And then to have them come in here like, what? Nobody claims the horizon's the curve of the earth. Like, what? You've been doing that yourself for years. And you don't even know you're doing it? Like, this is, I don't know.
It all starts at the horizon, right? How to debate a flat earther? What was that thing you presented that time?
Yeah,
It
how to
all
debate a
begins
flat
at the
earther.
horizon?
Yeah, How to Debate a Flat Earth is the title of the internet piece, and the first thing they state is, it all starts with the horizon.
Nathan, I dropped something. I dropped something in chat. Don't cross Russian videos because I found something. It's in chat.
I don't have access to Discord chat. I was just about to round out. What is it exactly?
You equal 33.
I equal 33.
Yeah,
Yes,
Nathan
indeed.
Oakley.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
I knew it.
I just
I
said
knew it.
that.
Here we
I've
go.
known it
Someone's
all
bringing
along.
it.
I told you long ago you're an
Hold on. Got a single reduction, whatever the hell that means. I knew it was cake.
Did you guys do a Russian review? Is actually Dominic older brother?
Where is it? Oakley. Oh, it's just Oakley that comes to 33.
Just Oakley, yeah.
I just, by coincidence, when I said it by guess, I said Oakley. I didn't know if it was 33, and it is.
Don't lie, you knew. Don't lie.
I didn't know. Honestly, I didn't know. Well, there you go.
Put Arwen in there.
Dun, dun, dun.
Shill confirmed.
I don't need a gematria to turn out to be 33. I got 33 right behind Arwen in my email.
Yeah, but does 10th man with a face showing equal something different than 10th man without a face showing?
I don't know.
I could break down all your guys' names if you want, but I'm busy delivering syrup water. So
Sure, do
only
mine.
Nathan.
What number do you want? What's a good number to have?
33 is actually a good number
Yeah,
because there's 33.
I know.
33. There's 33 vertebrae in your spine, right? And that's where it comes from. And like you're supposed to be an ascended master if you can ascend up your spine and chakras. It's supposed to be a good number, but you can hijack it and turn it upside down and stuff like the occultists do. So.
I see.
Or you can accuse people to be a Mason too.
Well, I'm not a Mason. But with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Primary Streams for hopefully smashing the PayPal link so I'd have to do GoFundMe to fix this damn projector. Smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!